Hello, and welcome to Mind Your Head, a space for people to share their stories, talk openly and honestly about their own mental health challenges, and to give some listeners some comfort in knowing you're not alone. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which we record this podcast, the Gubbi Gubbi people. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Indigenous peoples. We honour their enduring connection to the land, waters and culture, and recognise their invaluable contributions they make to our communities. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
This episode is proudly supported by True Protein. Use the code MINDYOURHEAD at the checkout to score $25 off your next order. This episode is brought to you by TLC Recovery Centre on the Sunshine Coast. Head to TLC Sunshine Coast, use the code TLC15MYH to receive 15% off and experience it for yourself.
You mentioned before that success was $1 million. What's success now?
Great question. For me, it is waking up, jumping out of bed.
What we talked about before.
Yeah, what we were talking about before. I think for me, knowing every day that I'm in control of it, and there's days where I actually feel bad talking to people about how good my life is because I don't want to come across as arrogant in a way, even though I know it's not arrogant, but I've spent a long time building it. I love my life.
Yeah.
I love every aspect of it. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that it's easy or it's perfect, but a lot of the things that are happening, I've chosen. And that's what's the most exciting. I've got the most incredible wife. I have amazing friends. I have opportunities and I love what I do. It wasn't always that way. And I feel like people are either going to be somewhere within hating what they wake up or how their life looks in front of them to being the people who go, hey, I can change it and they're in the change. And then there's someone who potentially is where they want to be. And I think the ultimate success for me is being content in the life that I have while still being ambitious to want more.
I love that because I think there's a bit of a misconception when people say, I love my life, but then also love the challenges, they love the setbacks, they love those, even the failures in your life. And I had this misconception where I thought, the perfect life was not having any problems, and this was earlier on in my adult, early 20s. I was just like, I want to build the perfect life is not having any problems. Like I honestly thought that. And so naive for me to think that I can go through life and not have any problems. And when a problem arose, I was always like, why don't I have the perfect life? Like, why have I always got problems? And I was like, I don't get it.
Did you ever think of yourself as the problem because of that?
Now I do from a more mature way to look back and reflect at those situations. But in the present moment, I was always projecting everyone else is the problem, not me.
Yep.
You're the issue. I'm reacting like this because you did this, And then I had to realize, because I never knew how to deal with problems. I always rejected it and didn't understand, is it teaching me something?
Yep.
Is it a trigger because I haven't healed something internally? And I was always like, no, it's not me, it's you guys. You guys are doing all this. And it wasn't for a while, honestly, man, for a long, long time, even my late 20s, I suddenly looked inwards and gone, hang on a second, all these things that I'm getting triggered at, all the problems in my life, I'm looking at problems, are they opportunities for me to get better as a person? Why do I keep rejecting it? Why do I keep sort of saying, blaming everyone else? Why aren't I looking inwards? And it took me I was in denial for 12 years.
What was the shift? What made you stop blaming everyone else and looking inwards?
Good question. I don't know the science around when the male brain hits 30.
We start to be a little bit more risk adverse.
Yeah, but I remember being something happened, something shifted. I've gone through some issues with my own mental health and reaching rock bottom. And even when I reached rock bottom, I was still a little bit in denial. It took me years to sort of come to terms with what actually happened. But I remember hitting 30 and something happened where I was super aware of how I reacted in certain situations, almost overanalyzing it in my own head. And I would always think, why am I getting angry right now? Why am I getting angry? Why did that just frustrate me? And then I was very curious as to why I was reacting in certain situations. And then I kept it internal for a while. And then I started voicing it to my family and friends going, have I always been a bit moody? Have I always been a bit like this? And they're like, yeah. You have.
Yes, you have.
And I'm like, really? And they're like, well, yeah, why is that? And I'm like, because I'm just noticing it now. I'm just noticing, and sometimes where I can just be really snappy And then I'll think back, I go, why did I say it like that for? Why did I react like that? And like, yeah, we can always, like, my friends and family have always been like, yeah, since about 16, we could tell that, like, you're in a good mood or you're in a bad mood. And that scared me because I was like, well, that's been happening for the last 10 years. I've just noticed it now. You know, what's happening with me? You know, what are the answers that I've been avoiding for so long? And then, you know, I've had situations with Jordan, my wife now, where, you know, she sat me down and gave me an ultimatum because I've had mental health episodes where I've gotten angry for 3 or 4 days and just been a prick pretty much, where she sat me down and she's like, I can handle this, but I'm not having this standard for our kids one day. I don't want that for our kids. So you either look for the answers, search for the reasons why you're like this, and I'll be with you every step of the way, or nothing at all.
Take a hike.
Take a hike, pretty much. And then that's when I was like,
It's great that she did that.
Yeah, because I deep down knew there was something up. I always, when I reacted to certain situations, I was always like, why did I do that? And I always never told anyone about it, but I was always, there was always a little bit of me that I was always like, there's something deep here that I'm not addressing. And for her to, like, give me an ultimatum like that, I was like, all right, stop. I'm sick of running. Like, I've been running for 15, 20 years, running away from my feelings, running away from my thoughts in my head, blaming it everyone else, procrastinating about it. Deep down, I've always knew that something was up. Like, I remember I got out of the army at 21, went to Canada with some of my best mates, got on the piss, drinking over New Year's, like Christmas, like so much fun. But there was a brief moment in Canada where I was drinking and I got this overwhelming feeling of sadness and, like, depression almost. And it lasted about 10 minutes. And I was thinking, why am I feeling like this? Like, I'm with my best mates. We're in Banff or Whistler or something. And I'm thinking, why am I feeling like this? And then all of a sudden it was gone. But that feeling, I also remember that feeling like it was yesterday. And ever since then, I was like, there's something up there. Why did I feel like that? And I was always, like, thinking back to that moment, like, has this manifested into something bigger because I haven't addressed it? And that conversation I had with Jordan, I was like, all right, I'm sick of running. I'm sick of pretending like there's nothing there. Let's find some answers. And, you know, I've had tons of head knocks playing footy. I got a really bad one when I was 21 playing in New Zealand, and looking back on it now, like, I should have stopped playing. I got so many advice from doctors to stop playing. Like, I had post-concussion syndrome. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Like, I had all the symptoms of a concussion. There's no time frame. It can last 2 weeks or a year or something. Mine lasted 6 months, like vertigo, dizziness, headaches.
Did you keep playing during that period as well, or
No,
did you take time off?
No, so I couldn't walk.
Yeah, right.
Like, I was cooked. I was cooked. Like, if I got out of bed too quickly, I would get vertigo and almost pass out. Like, I would have to, like, when I wake up, I'd have to sort of crawl out of bed and not stand up too quickly. And then, no bright lights, loud sounds, couldn't watch TV. I was bedridden, like, couldn't go outside because of the sun. I was just like, holy crap, like, it was too much, my sensory overload, and I couldn't train. Like, I lost a bunch of weight. Like, for 6 months, it was hell. But at the time, because I was so, like, focused on playing footy, I was just like, yeah, I'll be good. All good. Like, I'll just get through this. I'll get through this. And I kept playing, you know, and I look back on it now, even when I tell the story of what went on, it's so obvious that for someone else, like, you should have stopped playing. I kept playing, got a few more, never got a head knock to that extent, but I would get little ones and it would knock me out. Because I've had such a bad one, my head was so frail and sensitive, I would just get a little clip on the chin and I'd be gone. Lights out. So I was afraid of, you know.
Do you worry about that now?
Yeah. Still to this day, I'm fearful that I've done irreversible damage to my brain because got hit at 21 years old, kept playing till I was 28, and I got not a lot, but I got a fair few head knocks throughout that, you know, 8 years that I kept playing, that it became where I was super aware of, you know, was like, why am I so, like, my mood swings, I'm getting, you know, irritated, I'm starting to forget things. You know, I forget to pay my car reg, I'm forgetting that I went to the shops and got groceries, and I'm like, this isn't like me. Normally I'm on top of all these things. It really scared me. So when Jordan gave me that ultimatum, I was like, all right, I need to go see a concussion specialist. So I went down to Sydney, went to Macquarie University, did some scans, did some cognitive, like, skills and to make sure your memories and that sort of thing. And there were no visible signs at that stage. My memory was all good. but I guess with CTE, it's like they don't know until you're dying, until you're dead and cut your brain open. But my big thing was sort of my anger, my mood swings. The specialist I saw, which is really, really interesting, she, offered, there's all sorts of medications and stop the headaches and stop the, the mood swings and get on antidepressants, that sort of thing. But she said one of the craziest things, because I didn't think it was in modern medicine, was she goes, the best thing that we can recommend to work on is breath work.
Really?
Yeah, she recommended that. She was like, if you do breath work every single day, it's the best thing that we know of right now that is going to cure you in the long, not cure you, but help you in the long run. And I was like, I can't believe you just said that. I thought breath work was such a...
Going to get rid of all my tablets.
Yeah. She gave me the tablets. She goes, use them if you need them, but practice breath work.
And do you do that daily now?
Yeah, not daily, but definitely, a lot of the times when my nervous system's fried, if I'm trying to go to sleep, if I'm feeling really anxious or nervous, it should be every day, but I do it a lot at night time. Certain situations if I feel overwhelmed, and I it's interesting because the breath work that I've started to do, I've chatted to a lot of people about it, and I've done a lot of inner work, but I've always felt there's something missing. I'm not spiritual, I'm not religious, but I feel like there is a gap that I haven't explored yet. And I thought I was healed, right? But at the same time, I feel like there's a bit of a hole there. I don't know where I need to fill it. I don't know what I need to go down. And I was like talking to my brother who's done ayahuasca ceremonies and that sort of thing, and done sort of trips and that's...
Yeah, the DMT.
and that sort of thing. And I haven't tried any of that before. And I said that to a mate who's a breathwork practitioner, and he was like, you can do breathwork. And I was like, yeah, no, I've done that sort of stuff. He's like, no, there's a type of breathwork we can do for about 30, 40, 50 minutes. And it gives you that same sort of, have you done it before?
Yeah, it's brutal.
Is it brutal?
Like in a great way.
Yeah.
Everything you were saying sounds exactly
like really?
Me, where I felt like I'd done so much inner work, but I feel like something was missing. I was never, and I'm still not interested in the ayahuasca and stuff, because I used to take drugs when I was younger, and I hated the ones where you'd sort of
lose
out.
control.
I like being in control.
Yeah, same.
So I've looked at that and seen what it could do, both good and bad. And for me, I'm like, breathwork's amazing. And I had that breathwork experience with the breath guy. His name is, and he, like, I just remember I was tripping out. Like, I was seeing kaleidoscopes, and my brother-in-law was next to me, my wife, like the whole family was there. And I'm doing this, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, so grateful for everyone, but I'm just thinking, as soon as I come out of this, I got to tell them that I love them. Like, most important thing is I tell them that I love them. And I was just like going nuts. And then I felt his fingers on my sternum just to like calm me down. And then I came back to, I guess, consciousness, and it all went away. I was like, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm going to tell them about the experience. And for me, that scratched that itch instantly. Like, it was insane.
Was it really?
I could not recommend it enough.
So how long was the session? Because I
about
did
40 minutes. So we did like breathing exercises. I think it was 2 hours in total, and we did it in a small group, so it wasn't 1-to-1. 2 hours in total. First hour was just like learning some breath stuff and understanding how it works, and then the next 45 minutes after that was doing it. And they had, I think it was himself and 2 other guides that were just sort of working out, because like people can have fits and all kinds of stuff, and they just sort of moderate the person, which was incredible. But then the 15 minutes after that, you're just sort of laying there and just thinking, like, it just unlocks your mind. Some of the stuff, like, I had this thought went through my head. I had so much guilt. And the reason why I'm so driven and ambitious is, one of the reasons is I want to be able to provide for my family, and I want to make them feel like all their investment in me, the sacrifices that they made, is worth it. And I was thinking about that, and it made me sad, because I'm thinking, man, my mum sacrificed everything. Like, for a mother to give birth, like the changes in their body, she then gave up her career. And I'm just sitting there, and now she's 65, and I'm like, that's because of me. Like, and I felt guilt over that, and I'd never even had never thought of that in my life.
It's a crazy thought.
Yeah, and then I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, where does that come from? And that was like part of the reason why I was crying during this breath work, and I'm like, where does that even come from?
Yeah, because I had that similar thing, because I got told to do the 40 minutes I could only do 20. 5 minutes wasn't. I was like, what's going on here? This is fine. 10 minutes, not too bad. Got to the 15 minutes, and I hadn't done it that long before. My eyes started watering, and
That's called crying, bro.
And I was just like, what's going on here? You know, and I was just like, kept going, and I had this like, this feeling in my stomach. I was like, I'm gonna burst out into tears now. It was overwhelming. Like, why do I feel so much? Is it sadness? Is it just emotion that I've suppressed? Like, I couldn't know. I didn't know how to feel. And then I started crying, and I was just like almost sobbing. And then he was like, "Yeah, we're good now. We'll stop now." And then I was like, "What the hell was that?" And he goes, "You tell me. What was it?" And I was like, I couldn't pinpoint what emotion that was. I don't know if it was just general emotion that I've suppressed for so long. Is it me crying about the things that I've done in the past, or the people that I've let down, or is it that sort of thing? Is it worrying about the future or the past? I couldn't figure out. Am I sad? Am I traumatized? I couldn't put a label on it. But all I know, it was like I needed to cry really, really bad.
Do you cry often, or is that like a lunar eclipse for you?
No, I used to cry a lot when I was going through it. It was like my own way of sort of releasing that emotion. And it felt really nice. I do cry, every now and again. I think about, I never cry at happy stuff.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I'll never cry like happy stuff. It's always like, if I'm crying, I'll be in the car by myself and I'll cry about, so my dad came on the podcast and I'd never heard his story about his childhood or anything, and he had a really, really traumatized childhood. And Dad's a very hardened man. But in that podcast, in that episode, like, he told me about his childhood. It was so much abuse and neglect and like drug abuse, alcohol abuse, emotional, physical abuse, everything as such a young boy. And I processed that episode with Dad, but that stuck with me for so long that I'll be in the car driving by myself, and I'll just like think about Dad as a young boy and having to go through that for years, like 10 years he went through like this torture at home where he didn't want to be at home. And I think about that and I'll start crying in the car because I'm like, I feel so sorry for him. Like, and then I go, I wish I was a better son growing up, because I felt like, I may have put him through more pain than he should have gone through, I'm like, I wish I didn't put him through more of that, because now I know what he went through as a kid.
Yep.
I wish I was a better son to him growing up.
It's beautiful that you got to hear the story in the end, though. Some people, their parents are passed and they never get to hear that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love podcasting and social media. Our children, do you have children?
Not yet. Soon.
Yeah, so, but in the future, they'll be able to go on your podcast or their YouTube or your YouTube and like find out about your life. And because you do speak so openly about your mental health and your relationship and various things, they'll be like, I should go a little bit easier on Dad. But the generations before didn't have platforms like this, and they were hardened. They didn't know how to talk about it because they were doing various other, they had to provide for the family and do everything else.
Yeah, I never blame Dad at all for how he is and what he went through, because I completely understand now. Like, I was always like, why is Dad a bit of a dick? Like, why is he so tough? Like, why does he get triggered about all these things? And now I get it. And now the relationship I have with my dad now is so much more different. And I would always say to him, man, I wish we had this chat when I was 20. We could have been more closer and more mates that we are now. Like, we could have done that 10 years ago. And he's like, oh, were you in a headspace to receive this and actually understand? And I was like, nah, you're probably right. I probably wouldn't be in a headspace where I can actually sit down with you, walls down, ego aside, and actually have a nice conversation like this. So I think it happened at the right time, and I have to get out of my head that I always was like, oh, there was so much wasted time. Like, why couldn't we have done this sooner? But I think it happened exactly how it happened and when it happened.
Definitely. I think if we look at any outcome or anything with hindsight, we wish, if I'd done this step, and this step, we could have made this happen earlier because this is what I always wanted. But we forget to look at everything else that was going on in our life, like who we were as people, the people we were surrounding ourselves with, what our priorities were. And we would have had to make a lot of sacrifices in order to move that forward. And maybe, as you said, we weren't the person who was ready for that moment. But
I think it had to happen in terms of like setting a time, a date, booking the studio time. Because Dad was like...
How'd you approach that convo? Were you like, Dad, I want you to come on the potty and I want you to like let me have it
Because
all.
I went through some mental health issues and I never spoke to Dad about it, but he knew something had gone on, but he never asked about it and I never told him about it.
Yep.
And he knew that I was starting the podcast centered around mental health and sharing people's stories and getting people vulnerable and talking about things that a lot of the time go unspoken. Because I know the benefit on myself when I started sharing my story, not just with online or friends or family. When I first saw a psychologist for the first time and shared my thoughts and feelings and my emotions, it was the best thing ever. I didn't understand how good it was going to make me feel just to unload it all onto someone. Like, it was addictive. I was just like, holy crap, like I don't have to carry this anymore. So I knew the power of like having conversations with people. And then when I first started, there was so many people reaching out going, I felt the same thing. Even like old footy mates, like, you know how you're going through that when we're playing footy together? I was going through something similar. And I was like, fuck, like all of us sort of walking around on the surface level being good mates, but not actually like being honest with each other and being open with each other and like not knowing that we can all help each other out if we're honest with each other. Like, even though we might go through different things and different circumstances, if we're honest with each other and have a chat, we can all give each other a hand. So I called Dad and I told him like what I just said then pretty much about my mission around the podcast, and he was like,
let's just go.
Yeah, he was just like, I don't know, because he had never spoken about it. Dad's 70, never spoken about his childhood previous to the episode. So he was like, what rating is it? I'm like, what rating is it? You can say whatever you want, mate. Like, I'm in charge. I'm the boss. We can say whatever you want to do. And he was like, and I go, I'll make you a deal. I'll be honest with you and tell you everything that happened in the last 12 years, everything that you don't know. And then you tell me everything that's going on with your childhood. And he was like, all right, deal. But he was so nervous. He was just like, send me questions. I want to get prepared for it. And like, it was so like, should I say this? Should I like not say this? I was like, Dad, it's your story. There's no right or wrong. Like, share as much as you want to share. But just remember, this might be the only time that you get to share your story. So you want to do it right. And he was like, yeah, fair. Like, I don't want to go through this again. And, but it was beautiful. Like I honestly thought, because he handled it so well, like he handled the episode so well from the get-go. He was so open and like, I knew he would have been so terrified and afraid to tell me everything, but he was so open and understanding and told his story so well that I had this feeling that he's always wanted to do it. He just didn't know how to initiate the conversation, or didn't know how to initiate. I felt like, he was waiting for a time to tell the boys, like tell the brothers and tell his sons, like everything that happened. But he just didn't know how to like navigate that space. And like, that's why I never blamed Dad, because that's the generation. Like he modeled what his father did to him. Like, it was all sort of come through the generational. So, you could see he was super like, anxious at the start. Like, he didn't know how to approach it, and like he was all sweating and stuff like that. And it was like,
has he asked to come back on?
Shit, no, he hasn't asked. No. He's one and done. But I think in terms of like our relationship, I think that was probably one of the most important episodes in terms of, mine and his relationship, but with the family too. Like, he's a different person. He's a bit more softer, takes a piss out of himself. Really? Yeah. Like, even Mum was like, what did you say to him? I was like, I don't know. I didn't say anything.
He spoke the whole time.
Yeah. And she was like, well, he's different. Like, he's had a cry about it. And like, I think all that suppression, all that emotion that he suppressed over years, like 50 years of like carrying that. And he was telling me, like, when the episode aired, he had mates that are around his age, like, going, oh, thanks for sharing that. Like, I went through something in my childhood that was similar, or like, oh, thanks, Brent. Like, now I can understand you a little bit better. Like, he had so much good feedback around, like, from people in his circle. So,
wow.
Although it was so daunting.
Being mates with your dad. So you said your dad's 70.
Yeah.
Being mates with your dad since he was like 20 or 30. And only 50 years later you hear that story.
Like, he's got relatives.
Far out.
He's got relatives that had been in that same situation, but because their experiences were different, they had no idea that Dad and his brothers were going through that. Like, Dad's younger sister, who was living in the same house, she didn't witness as much as Dad. Like, she was sheltered a lot. Like, the brothers wanted to sort of shelter her from all the abuse, from the alcohol, everything like that. So when she was listening to the episode, she was like, my auntie, she was like, oh, I don't remember any of that. And Dad's like, yeah, we we sheltered you from it. We didn't want you to
see
see any of it. So she was like, it sort of brought them closer because she's just like, oh fuck, I had no idea that was going on in the household. And Dad's like, yeah.
Far out.
What was your childhood like? I'd love to know. Does any of that resonate with you and your dad, or what were you like as a kid?
I was an active kid. Like,
Yeah.
I probably similar to you. Like, I just love sports and being outdoors, whether it was skateboarding or running or climbing stuff was just epic. And we were very fortunate. My mum came from the bush, came from Gundawindi, so we'd get to go down to the farm every Christmas, and that was just one big adventure with my cousins. And then growing up in Toowoomba, we sort of were north of Toowoomba where they have 5 acres. Same thing, I just skateboard all day, run, like I loved running, and then got into footy a little bit younger. But I had every opportunity, and I had like a loving family, but it was still trying to get Dad's, approval a lot of that time, because he was a hard worker. Mum was working hard at home. She was, sacrificed her career, as I said, to look after and raise the kids, which we're so incredibly lucky that she did that. And I have such an awesome relationship with Mum. Like, she, if I was going away for a rep team, she'd come with me, and it was just epic. It was like Mum and I doing all this fun stuff. But then Dad would always be at work. You'd see him, I'd get up early. I think it's the reason why I still get up early, because I knew that I could see him at like 5 a.m. So I'd get up, go downstairs while he's having his coffee, and then I'd like have a quick yarn to him and fall asleep on the couch watching Cheese TV, and then
Did
the
same.
go to school, and that was it. But it was always trying to get Dad's approval, and I got that through footy. Like when I would get man of the match, or we'd play grand finals, or you get rep teams, like that'd be the times that you get a hug from Dad, and no other time you would ever get it. And that just made me want to work harder, and look, plenty of good came from it. It made me highly competitive, which I love as a characteristic for myself, and it made me work hard, because there was so many times where I wouldn't get picked for teams, or I'd get injured and I'd have to fight my way back. And had I not wanted to prove something to Dad, I don't think I would have tried it. Probably wouldn't have cared, because I was happy skateboarding and doing other things. But if it was to do with footy, that just put the mongrel in me.
Yeah, did it?
Yeah. And I guess more to it, like my brother and I aren't that close. Like, we're a little bit closer now, but he grew up, challenged with his mental health, and I never understood it. I used to just beat him up and be like, I'm dealing with stuff, because I was dealing with my own stuff, obviously trying to fit in with Dad, but also figuring out who I was as a young kid. I found myself trying to fit in with the footy crowd more than the skateboarders. And I always go back to the skateboarders because I fucking love it, man.
Do you?
Yeah, I loved it. But I also wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
And so going to a rugby school, if you're not playing footy, you're getting picked on. So
if you're not in the first.
Yeah, if you're not in the first, you're getting picked on.
Yeah.
So I became that person, but I knew underneath that I wasn't who I was. Like, I just felt something in my gut where I'm like, this is not who I am, but it's working for me at the moment. So carry on with
Why
that.
change it?
Yeah, why change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Did you feel a bit lost?
Massively.
Yeah.
Because then I've worked so hard to fit into something and to be someone that then what happens next? And for me, it was trying to play pro, because everything up until that point was like fun and games. I wasn't very good at school. I wouldn't say I applied myself. It was just like trying to be an athlete. If I wasn't at training, I was learning how to pass better, or learning how to kick better, or working on my footwork or speed. Like, I was just doing stuff by myself because I was so desperate to be in the first, as you said, and then see what happens after that. And when, you get the obviously approval, you go, I need more of this.
This is nice.
This is lovely. Like, if I can do more of this and do better, it's going to feel better. And that's where, for me, the idea of playing pro was like, okay, well, if I play pro, the girls are going to love me. One, amazing. Two, I'm not going to get bullied and everyone will like me. Amazing. Three, I'll have money, so I won't ever experience financial stress and have a fight with my missus. So I was like, that's the the
secret to life.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I went through that sort of journey, and I'd lost mates to suicide. I lost my first mate when I was 15. He was 14. Super talented footy player. Was with the Titans, Australian 100 and 200 metre champion. I just couldn't get my head around why. And no one spoke about it. So this was 2005, 2004, 2005. And I'm thinking, well, he has everything that I wanted.
And it still wasn't enough.
And it still wasn't enough. No one spoke about it. I remember it was on the front page of the Chronicle, which is the Toowoomba newspaper. I just kept it under bed. I wouldn't cry. We didn't talk about it. But when I'd feel sad, I'd pull it out, have a read, and just cry. And same thing, I'm like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I don't know what's going on. And then over the years, you have other mates struggle with mental health. My brother struggled with mental health and then moved overseas because I thought I was going to escape all of the shit that I was in because I'd been lying, cheating, and manipulating. I was playing good footy, but I found myself in a point where I'm like, I hate who I am. I hate my life. Like, my missus at the time had broken up with me and I just wanted to run away. And the easiest way for me to run away was like put my rugby resume into as many clubs in Europe as possible and ended up getting a gig overseas, which I was like, perfect. Going to get paid, going to be getting in the spotlight and people are going to think
I've got the validation back
Yeah,
again.
I've got it back.
Yeah.
And what followed me was the insecurities, the jealousy and the self-doubt and the self-hatred. And after about 3 months, it just fucking boiled. And I'd walked away from my support system. I couldn't speak French. So I didn't have that network. And then I had to deal with it. And so in between training, you're sitting at home and just like thinking about all the things that I've done wrong. I had a good family. I still have a good family, sorry. Had great opportunity. Went to a great school. Yet I'm being a degenerate. And I found myself, I was back in Australia. This was Christmas time. And we got in a pub fight, like just nothing special. When I say special, like nothing outrageous. Anyway, I was put in handcuffs downstairs and everyone's looking at me and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, this is the worst. We were speaking about it before where it's almost like you get this mirror reflected on you and you have to look at yourself because everyone's looking at you. Normally you could like have another beer, crack a joke or go away and you don't have to deal with those parts of yourself. But I had to deal with that in that
Consequences,
moment.
yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm disgusting. Like I do not like this person. I already knew that. I hated who I was, but I really didn't like the fact that I had to look at myself. I made the decision after that I wanted to change my life. And I didn't know what that looked like. I just didn't want to be in the position where I'm in right now where I'd feel disgusting. And I'd been partying to the point where I'm like, if I don't wake up, awesome. Like, it doesn't matter.
Even better.
No, yeah. And
scary spot to be in when you just don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, I'm still getting validated by people on the other side of the fence who love the fact that you don't care. Like, and not in a suicidal way, but in the fact that when you're partying, you'll just do whatever. Like, some people love that because it helps them.
Almost egg it on a little bit. Yeah,
definitely. And it was through that whole period where I started understanding what my brother had been dealing with for such a long time, where he didn't feel valued, hated who he was, and I would never listen to him. I'd never give him a position to speak. I'd just be like, shut the fuck up. Like, if you can't handle it, stop being a pussy. And like that whole negative stigma around it, because I didn't even realize what I was carrying at the time, or the pressure and expectation I had on myself and how that was impacting me. And when I obviously part of that experience in France as well as I realized that the destination that I'd been working towards wasn't the thing that I was actually after. And that was one of the greatest lessons that I've taken away from that whole period. And even fast forward to now, the biggest thing I always get asked after the marathon is like, what's next? And for me, life's next. Like, I want to have a kid. We've moved back to Australia. There's a lot of great things. And they're like, no, what about like fitness? What's the next thing?
Yeah, what's the next challenge?
And I'm like, well, life. Like, I'm not defined by the run. Just like when I played footy, I was defined by that. That was my whole identity. And I saw how much that fucked me up. So I knew from the get-go that whatever I do in my life now, I'm not defined by it. It's an extension of things that I am curious about or I want to lean into. So that was a really good lesson from that period. But going back to, what was I, 23 at that point when I'd moved back and working out what was next. Like, I know I glossed over that, so if you want to dive into any of it, but when I was trying to figure out what was next, like how I could be better, a guy I was playing rugby with in Toowoomba, Tommy, And he was maybe a decade older than me, but like a legend, absolute, just a club legend, played international for England back in the day. Like, and someone I looked up to, and he's like, man, just come to this event with me. And I was like, what's the event? He's like, it's a personal development event. I was like, what's a personal development event? He's like, just trust me, just come along. And we were about to play our major semi-final that year in 2014. And I'm like, well, if I play the semi-final, like if I don't play the semi-final and we make it to the grand final, I'm not going to play. He's like, yeah, you will. You'll be fine. And I'm like, no, I'm not as good as you, mate. Like, come on. And so I was torn between like going to this event. I had no idea what it was, but someone that I respected was recommending it for me because he knew the crap that I was going through, or playing in a grand semi-final.
Yeah.
And so I ended up literally on the Tuesday, I was like, I'm going to this event. And they're like, what's the event? And I said, Tommy, you do the spiel. Went to this event, walked in, and for anyone who's ever been to like a Tony Robbins style event, you're walking in and everyone's jumping on chairs, high-fiving and hugging. And Tommy and I are both like from the footy background, we're like, don't fucking touch me. Don't keep your hands off me. Don't do any of that. Yeah. But I sat down, and my mum actually came with me as well. Sat down at this event, and a guy was on stage, and he was a bricklayer, and he was sharing his story around how he'd been suicidal and hated his life and everything like this. And he was a bricklayer and didn't excel in school, and all the things I was like, I feel like you're telling parts of my story. And I remember turning to mum, and I was like, I just want to do what he's doing. And I didn't feel like I had a story. I didn't know how on earth you get there. But after that, we walked away, and I started running events. Like, I literally built my own events, which was epic. And part of that process was, the goal was like, I want to make $1 million. But when I started putting on events and learning about like marketing and branding and all of this sort of stuff, like I learned more about myself in that process. Like, why is that important to me? What does success mean to me? Why do I think $1 million would make me successful? What's the sacrifice or consequences of having $1 million? And I started questioning things more. And I met my wife as well, my girlfriend at the time, my now wife. And same thing, I hadn't dealt with the insecurities and jealousies. And she's an incredible person. And we're in Thailand one day on a family trip with her family. And I got on the booze. And similar, when you're saying your mood swings, like for me, when I drink, I have wicked mood swings. And I just turned into the devil again. And she had the same conversation, probably similar to your wife, where the next day I'm laying in bed, she wasn't in bed with me, and I'm like, I fucked up bad, because she kicked me out of the taxi in front of her family. And I'm like, oh man, flights, like Webjet, how can I get back to Australia? And I couldn't afford to get back, so I was like, damn it, I'm going to have to face the music here.
Can't run.
I can't run. I can't do what I'd love to do right now, which is run. So I went down there at the breakfast table, and it was just awkward, but Amy pulled me aside, and she's like, similar to what you said, like, I'm not going to tolerate this shit. Like, you're an asshole on the piss, so you either sort that out or take a hike. And I was like, well, I want to sort it out. And so I stopped drinking, and I started dealing with a lot of stuff. I started seeing a psychologist regularly. I still do, and, doing a heap of stuff to make myself better and to just try and get to a point where I loved who I was. Because the reason why I drank, as someone who loves sport as well, you maybe appreciate the fact where I would much rather go do, like even tomorrow morning, like go do some gnarly hike or run instead of getting on the piss and being hungover. But I did that because at the time, the people I was hanging around with, that's what they did, and I wanted to fit in, right?
That's the normal, for
but
sure.
I'd still always go like, what if I could do something else?
Yeah.
And when I became confident in who I was, I started doing that. And I started leading myself, and then I started leading a community, and just moved me forward. And I think, going back to where we started this, like now I'm in a position where I'm so proud of who I am and what I've been able to achieve, that I just want other people to know that they, we're all going to go through seasons. Like winter, it sucks. You feel lonely, it's cold, nothing's working. Summer's always around the corner. Like, you feel like everything you do turns to gold.
It's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
Even happiness.
Literally, like there's always a new season around the corner. You got to be prepared. You got to enjoy summer when it's here, and you got to prepare for winter when you're in summer.
What came up in the psychology sessions when you first went? I'd love to know sort of some themes that came up, and interested to know if you're still sort of unprocessed grief from your friend passing away at such a young age.
It's a great question. I've never been asked about Chris. For me, like, we'll come back to the unprocessed grief, but every psychologist, I've worked with about 5 different ones now, always get to a point where it's like, I don't feel worthy. Is always the underlying story, because I feel like I always have to prove myself. And I still do. I definitely still do, and I don't know whether it's something I'll ever accept. And when I say accept, come to terms with, to the point, because I fear that if I do feel worthy, I'm not going to have the drive and ambition to achieve the things that I want to achieve. And for me, being driven isn't causing issues in my life at the moment, I don't think. And I haven't had anyone...
We'll get your wife on the
podcast.
Yeah.
Amy's like, well, bullshit. No, but I don't feel like...
Yeah, you're using it in a positive rather than... You can always tread a fine line with it, can't you?
Yes.
And not be careful not to overstep that line. But obviously you're using it in a positive, because you're so driven and disciplined with your life and everything that you do.
Yeah, and we spoke about family things, like my relationship with mum, and even my dad, like Amy, my wife, same thing. My dad and I had never said we love each other, ever, until I started dating Amy. And it was probably maybe 2016 where she made me hug him. Because Dad's had...
Was it weird?
Oh, dude, super weird. But now we hug all the time.
Dude, sick.
But like, Dad's struggled with mental health and still does. And once again, I watch his moods happen, and I'm like, okay, well, I wish he would seek help, because there's still that stigma. I just went and saw the quack, and I'm like, what the fuck's a quack? He's like, psychologist. I'm like, all right, like, it's not a bad thing.
It's all good.
It's fine. You don't need to make a joke out of it. But so talking about those relationships and like why there was resentment, or why I don't feel like I could tell my parents I love them, and all of this stuff, like, I just feel like I'd made so many... I don't know whether it came from the drive as well, and we always circle back to this, and this is where I always got the shits with the psychologist, because I'm like, can we just move on from this, because I don't feel like it's a problem with the trying to prove myself. But I'm like, I think because for me, if I see a problem, I want to fix it, and then like to the point where I'll obsess over it, and it has to make progress or I'm out of there. And so
you're obsessed with progress, and growth.
Like, everything for me, it's like, what's this leading to?
I better be growing from this. I better be getting something from this that's going to help me become a better person. Do you feel like there are little bits of you? I know that the worthiness and that sort of thing are common themes, but do you feel enough in your day-to-day life?
I do. Look, actually, right in this moment, I do. There's some days where I don't. But I would say majority of the time I do feel enough. Because I'm always on. Like, if you talk to my mates, they're like, you're the busiest dude of it. Like, you're always doing something. And one, I don't want to miss out on life. I think it's so short and nothing's guaranteed. Two, I want to have the biggest impact, not only on other people, but even for myself. I think how I got into the position to do what I do now is I realized it wasn't about trying to inspire other people. It was about trying to inspire myself and asking myself, well, what would an inspired life look like? And that became simple to the point where, I hated who I was. I was at a point where I didn't care if I woke up or not. Where it's like, now I wake up and jump out of bed because I'm inspired to do the things that I do. Like, I'm so great. Even coming down here, like, this is sick. Like, tomorrow going on the hike, that's going to be gnarly. Picking up, like, there's so many things happening that can be considered like arduous or mundane, but at the same time, it's like, what if I never get to do that again? Like, this right now is what makes life great, because the difference between someone who's sad and someone who's happy is ultimately perspective. Like, there's events that are always going to happen in your life. And for me, it's just like, I'm trying to, and not always, but I'm trying to see the lesson from it, and what's the thing that's going to make me appreciate it and be able to move forward, but also just not take for granted things that are happening.
Process grief.
Yeah.
Have you thought about it?
I have not. I've never been asked that.
Never been asked that.
Never been asked that, which is crazy.
Because I know as a young kid to understand grief and to process it at such a young age is, especially not having the tools and ways and the understanding to how to do it. I've gone through it not at 16. I've got a best mate of mine. His dad lost his battle with his mental illness, and we're all 20 years old, and rattled us, completely rattled us to the point where didn't know how to handle it. I dove into sport. I just kept playing footy. I just dove head first into footy, and like thinking like the more I trained hard, the more I concentrated on footy, the better the grief was gonna go through my body. I wasn't too sure. I was like, do we talk about it? Do we not talk about it? Like my best mate, he's still my best mate now. You know, he came on the podcast too, and it was the first time. It was 10 years after his dad passed away. It's the first time we sat down and actually like I asked him questions about it. I was so afraid to talk to him about it because I didn't want to bring up any old emotions or memories, or I had all these questions because I wanted to ask him how he was doing, and we never spoke about it. Never. I just avoided. I would always, if we were around each other, you know, after the funeral and that sort of thing, I would always try to talk about anything else just to try uplift his mood. I didn't want to like, so how are you feeling right now? Because he's obviously feeling fucking shit. Like, you know, like I didn't want to be that person, but I think on the reverse of that, like for 10 years we didn't talk about it. And I think he probably wanted to talk. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to like deal with this emotion that we're feeling because it rocked the community. Yeah, we're such a tight friendship group, and he was my footy coach when we were growing up. Like we were so close. We were going around there for, you know, I spent most of the years growing up at their house, and to see how we all reacted in grief, not knowing how to do it. It was such a learning curve for me, and even our friends group. Obviously, we're a lot tighter and that sort of thing. But it almost made us believe how important it is to talk about things, even during the hard times, even when it's awkward, or even when it's painful, or even when you're like, oh, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person to him. Be that person to him. Go through it.
I think it's that. In the moment, like initially, it's hard because it's uncomfortable, it's unknown. You don't know what they're thinking or feeling. But in the long term, bridging that gap is big better. But it is that whole, when you're dealing with people's emotions, it's fucking hard to know what they're thinking or how they're going to respond or react to certain things. And we don't want to
be the bad guy.
So I don't want to upset them. Like that's the last thing. They're already carrying that grief. But sometimes I guess processing it is the thing to do. I think, like for me, I would have loved to talk about it. I still remember walking into the funeral hall and seeing, because he was a great athlete, but his cousins were really good footballers as well. And I just remember the screams, like when like the coffin was going down, and fuck, we were all so young and no one spoke about it. And to me, like I didn't know his cousins that well because I hadn't played footy with them, but eventually we were on the same team and I got to build a really great relationship with them. But you're like, I wonder what it's like what they're going through right now. Like they would have had no one to talk to about it because everyone just goes to the wake and gets on the piss and does all of that. But it's like, what causes you to do that? And like, I'm sure everyone has those questions, and you're never going to get an answer, really, unfortunately. But like how he did it, why he did it, when, like the outside looking in, he had everything that I was aspiring to have, literally. And I never got to think about, like, I wonder if I had conversations about it earlier, would my idea of success changed? Would I not have gone down the path that I did, which then, you know, brought me here, but it also brought a lot of pain, and I hurt a lot of people and I did stupid things as well. So I wonder
how different would it have been.
How different would it have been? Could have been interesting to think about. And, you know, we've had, once again, the Toowoomba rugby league community is small.
Oh, it's so tight-knit.
Yeah, and so there's, once again, in that community, and another bloke's taken his life, and it's just like the ripple effect of that stuff. So I do wonder, because I'm not in Toowoomba anymore, so I haven't had conversations with anyone about it. Like you sort of got that opportunity with your mates. Don't know.
You mentioned that when you're in handcuffs and you're like, oh, I'm disgusted, like everyone's looking at me. I got in that bar fight.
Yep.
Was that your rock bottom, do you think?
Definitely.
That was your rock bottom?
Yeah, it's an interesting to think about, because I quite often think, like, is that the worst thing? And I've done a lot of things, and I'm sure a lot of people have, where it should have been the lesson, but I just wasn't ready to listen to it at that point. And I think the reason why was because I wasn't actually looking at myself. I was doing what you mentioned at the start, where I was blaming everyone else or situations or events, or alcohol was always an easy one to blame as to why I was behaving in a certain way. And in that moment when you've got people looking at you and there's nowhere for you to go, you're like, fuck,
This
is me.
Yeah.
And like, it's the heart, dude, that period, probably until 2016. So there was probably a good 2-year period, especially when I started using social media, and I'll share why I use that as well. But I was owning a lot of the things that I'd done. And I remember if I was going to do a post or even talk about something with my partner, I would think about it for weeks, and I'd stew on it. I'm like, fuck, like my hands would sweat, and like, what if this changes how they feel about me? What if this ruins anything that I could do in the future moving forward? But I just had so much guilt, and I'm like, the only way I'm going to be able to, I guess, show everyone who I really am and what I'm trying to do is just be honest. And looking back, and it's so much easier looking back because
hindsight.
Hindsight.
Yeah.
But it just lifted this weight because I could actually be who I was, not who I was pretending to be that had a specific reputation and persona. And I guess people saw me in a certain light. There was one time when I started this hashtag unrestricted living, and I was putting posts on, and some of the boys I'd play footy with made Facebook page about me just to rip into me.
Did they?
Yeah. And I remember one lady, because I was running an event at this time, writing on the comments like, this guy's a fraud, he did this. And I was like, I know, I've spoken about that and I've apologized to her, but what else do you want me to do?
It's not me anymore.
No, it's not, and I'm trying not to be like that. Hence why I'm doing this. And that made me realize that when I want to change, or when anyone wants to change, you're also making it difficult for other people, because you're changing how you show up in the world, which sometimes shines a light back on them to go, fuck, maybe I need to do something too.
I don't think there's enough permission in the world for people to change.
No.
I think, I had Todd on the podcast, and he's doing so much incredible things in the community now, and honestly, probably a role model, and something that he probably never thought he would be a role model to young kids. But he's, gave up the drink. He's such an incredible role model to young kids. But he always gets, the comments, and it always goes back to who he was playing footy. And I was so curious to understand that in today's society, like when someone wants to change, it's always met with, nah, but you were this person before, like this is what you used to do. And people always bring it around to them. Yeah. It's almost like encouraging them to change their perspective on that situation, or their idea of that person.
Yeah, and it is black and white. Like at that period of time, that is how I acted, but this is also what I believed and I thought, and it's very different to now, which is why I act differently and I think differently and I behave differently. But people, for whatever reason, like I think we love to hold people back.
Yeah.
Like we just...
That tall poppy syndrome.
In Australia, having lived in America, I didn't really believe in tall poppy syndrome. Like I thought it was a little bit there, we'd pull each other down. But when I moved to America, and I was living there, 2023 till just recently, how they champion each other is phenomenal.
It's incredible, eh?
They don't... I feel like in Australia, especially if you get in the private school system as well, it's like, what school did you go to? You could be 50, and it's like, what school did you go to? What did you do at that time? Who do you... It's like, okay, well, how's that relevant now? Whereas in America, from my experience with people there, they're just like, what are you working on? What are you working to? Like, what are you excited about? It's just like, where are you going? Which I love, man.
Not who you were before, but what you're doing now.
Yeah.
What are you working towards?
Correct.
Yeah,
and then they're like, oh, man, you got to meet my buddy Ryan. I'm going to link you up with him. He'll be able to help you with this, or he can connect you with this guy. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, this is so odd.
Yeah,
but
I love that. It's amazing.
It's the best.
Yeah.
And I feel in Australia a lot more people, and if we go back to like male suicide or just suicide in general or mental health challenges, a lot of people I feel confused and feel lost because one part of them knows this is who they are and what they want to be doing and how they could live their life. The other part is this is who I've been, this is my network, and this is how people expect me to be.
I can't change.
I can't change, and there's a freaking gap. And not enough people are out there telling their stories around, hey, this is how I once thought, acted, and behaved, and I'm not proud of it, but hey, here I am. You can do this too.
They're not living in an alignment. I think a lot of people aren't living in an alignment, and that's why they're always frustrated or, you know, hating themselves.
Yep.
Because they're not the person they want to be, and they're too scared to go to that place. And I agree with you. Like I played a bit of footy over in sort of near Boston and stuff.
I see.
Yeah, it was so good. But they were like the same sort of attitude. They didn't give a shit what you've done or the person you were before or where you grew up. They were just like always rooting for you.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, the energy and like the confidence they'll give you, you're just like, but if you do that in Australia, you know, they always want to build you up, but at the same time, in Australia, they don't want you to get you too high, and then they want to bring you back down again. They want to root for the underdog, but as soon as you're not the underdog, they want to like tear you back down again.
Well, even with Tim Tszyu, like after he lost that fight on the week, like I was just reading comments, and I'm like, literally 18 months ago, he was like the megastar coming through, and everyone loved him, and I loved his response that he put out yesterday, where he's like, I'm having a crack on the biggest stage. At some point, you're going to fail. My failures are public. Like my wife, same thing. Like if she's in the media for things, it's like people are always going to have an opinion, yet no one knows her.
Yeah.
Like very few people have actually sat down and had a coffee with her. And so when you start to understand that, it's frustrating because you're always sacrificing something in life in order to, especially in the new digital world, right? Like in order to be successful to a certain point, you need to have a personal brand, which means you're on the socials, which means everyone then has the opportunity to
have opinion,
to watch you. And as you're growing, they're like awesome. And I still believe there's three kinds of people. There's a group of people who want to champion you and want to see you succeed, and they're always going to be by your side. They're great people. The middle people are just the watchers. They're just like keen to come along for the ride. And then the most noisy freaking group is the ones who hate you, and they don't even know you, but they will let you know every time you make a mistake or
you're shit. That episode was shit, Elliot. You're like, what's it? Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks,
why?
guys.
Like,
why was that shit?
Like I see with my wife's music all the time, that fucking dumb song. I'm like, what? You don't like pop music?
Yeah.
No, I don't like pop music. Okay, well, of course you're not going to like
It's
it.
fine then. It's all
Like,
good. Like, we all like different things.
Yeah, like, it's okay.
I find it bizarre because I go back to the man in the arena quote.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, it's not the person that fails in the arena. It's the person like that's putting himself in the arena constantly, even though there's a chance of failing.
Yep.
They're the people that matter, not the people that view from the sideline and just, you know, throw shit. And, you know, I had a guy comment on one of my YouTube videos, and he was like, he said something like, this has got 100 views and it's been up for a month. Nice video, dickhead. And I was like, that is rough. So I went and looked at his account. No videos. And I'm like, oh, it's pretty easy to comment on other people's work when you haven't put yourself out there at all. And that's what I feel when people comment you. It's so easy for you to judge when you're not doing it yourself. Yeah, give it a go. Put yourself out there.
Yeah,
have a crack and see how hard it is.
He probably had a profile picture of a cat or flowers or something, I betcha.
Yeah.
But it is exactly that. Like, even from our point of view, like if you are having a dig and you're wondering, like, who should I actually take feedback from? Take feedback from those who've done what you're doing. Because like we could say, hey, how do you start a podcast, Elliot? And you would say, oh, well, you find the studio, you decide what you want it to be about.
Who you are, what do you want to do?
And work back, and you're like, okay, if I just tick all of that off, I'll do it. But then what people don't get to experience or will never understand unless they do it is like those comments that you get, or the moments where like, should I post this episode? Should I reach out to this guest? And you go through all the mental stuff. But you got all these keyboard warriors who would just think, oh, all you do is follow the framework. If I did do that, I would have 101 views and I'd beat you.
Don't put yourself out there if you don't want anyone's opinions. And I'm like, yeah, but do you really need to say that? Like, do you really
come back with something more crafty?
Yeah, I would never type any of that. Even if I didn't like it, I don't need to be like, I don't like that. You know, it's like, cool.
I just go to the next video.
Go to the next video. It's all good.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fickle world, social media, and like something I love to chat to you about it is something that I find quite remarkable is that we talked about off camera before the 58 marathons in 58 states.
I've always asked my guests, what are your 3 non-negotiables for living a healthy and full life? For me, it's movement, community, and good nutrition. I've learned that what you fill your body with plays a massive role in how you feel physically and mentally. That's why I use True Protein. They're an Aussie brand doing things the right way. Clean, natural supplements with no artificial additives or fillers. Everything's made in-house in Sydney's northern beaches using the highest quality ingredients sourced from around the world. Whether it's supporting energy, improving focus, or reducing fatigue, their products genuinely help me show up better every single day. And just like Mind Your Head, they live by values I stand by. Be true, be you, and take care of your whole self.
I can't even get my head around that at all. I've got mates that when I stopped playing rugby, I thought it was a perfect time for me to not have to deal with the pressure and the anxieties. Even though I loved playing footy, it was nice to wake up on a Saturday and not have to perform. And I stopped playing, and about 2 years after I stopped playing, I didn't realise that was the very thing that I needed. I loved the competition. I loved pushing myself. The anxieties, the stress, the pressure, that was just a part of the game.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that I needed that in my life because life became too easy. I was in the comfort zone. I was just like, no, I didn't realise that I needed something to be pushed towards. And I got two of my mates down on the Gold Coast, and they trained for a marathon, and I was so pumped for them, and they trained for months, and they got a really good time, and we came down and watched them. And I remember being at the finish line, and I watched them run across the finish line. You could just see like how happy they were, and like they ran such a good time, and they were so knackered, but there was a sense of fulfillment and achievement. And I remember like looking around, and everyone had that. You could just see that everyone like made across they were wrecked, but they were just like, we did it.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was sort of looking around, and I was thinking, man, what have I done? What have I done since I stopped playing footy in terms of how have I pushed myself at all? Like, I haven't pushed myself at all. I just fell in the comfort zone thinking that's what I needed. But I didn't need that at all. I needed to get pushed physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever it was. So I hate running, putting it out there. Like, I think it was because of the footy training. Like, I think that just burnt me out. I think when I stopped playing footy, I was like, I'm going to do fitness that I actually enjoy. So I went back to swimming and did a bit of CrossFit style training, but like running in a straight line, I was just like, nah, not doing that. Boring. But I wanted to test myself. And I think we spoke about before was like fear was a big, fear ruled my life a lot. I was always, if something scared me, out here, quit, gone, I'm running, getting out of the way. And so I decided to wake up one morning, not tell anyone, and run from Maroochydore, where I live, up to Noosa and back. It's about 74 Ks. I had never run 5 Ks in my life. And I was like, I didn't want to train for it because I wanted it to hurt, because I wanted to push myself to the point where I wanted to give up, and I didn't. Because I always gave up even the teams that I made in the rugby career that I had, and I was so proud of everything that I achieved. There was still a little bit of me that had left some in the tank.
Yeah,
like I felt like I didn't give it 100%. I maybe gave it 80%. And people from looking outside in, they might say, "Oh no, Elliot, you've done great." I'm like, yeah, but I know that I didn't give it everything, because I was too afraid to give everything. And I would always, like, any sort of pain that would happen, I would just fucking quit. And I got sick of it. I was so tired of being that person. So I was like, nah, I'm just going to do this. I want it to hurt. I don't want to do any training for it. I don't want to make it easy. I want this to suck. And my goal was to not quit. I don't care if I'm walking back home. My goal was to not quit. So like, I don't know if you're familiar with the sort of Maroochydore up to Noosa area. I got to like Coolum, and I was like feeling all right. Coolum Surf Club, wasn't feeling too bad. And then like got to like Peregian and Sunshine Beach, like going up to sort of the hills and stuff, and like my knees started to hurt, my ankles started to hurt. I was like, fuck, this is actually way longer than I thought. And then like Jordan, my wife, was meeting me up at Noosa Main Beach. She had electrolytes and, bananas and massage gun, and like I chilled there for like 5 minutes, and like I think I had a shower. I was like, oh, this sucks. And I didn't think I explained it to her properly, because she was like, let's go. And she was walking to the car, and I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, we're going back now. I was like, no, I got to run back. And she's like, you're not running back, are you? I was like, yeah. So I like hobbled back, and there's a point. So when you leave in Noosa, that you're on a bit of a hill, and you can see like across the coast into Maroochydore. And I shouldn't have seen it, because it looked like the little speck in the distance. And I was like, oh, that killed my motivation. But I think to this day, it was like such a important moment in my life, because that whole run back, I wanted to quit. The whole run back, I was like, why the fuck did I do this? And I wanted to change the person that I was. I wanted to like line in the sand. I wanted to know what I was made of, pretty much. It was pretty much like why I joined the army. I was like, how far can I push myself to breaking point, and what's my breaking point? Like I want to know
Where it is.
Where it is, right? And I, the whole way back, I was in pain. I figured out like if you stop running and you went again, the pain would be worse. So I just had to keep going because I'd stop and be like, oh, this sucks, and I'd try to go again, and I was in so much pain. And I got Jordan calling me. She's like, where are you? Like, you meant to be back hours ago, and it took me like 12 hours to do. Finally, I got home. And there was so many times where I wanted to give up, and the pain was, obviously the physical pain, but that mental warfare of like those demons coming up, like just quit. Who cares? No one's watching. Like no one's gonna know. There were the thoughts that were going through my head, and I was like, oh no, like I'll have to live with this, knowing that I quit, and I never wanted to be that person. And I finally got home, and Jordan was like running me like a cold plunge, and I had bags of ice and stuff like that. And I remember just sitting in the cold plunge. I couldn't move. Like I was in so much pain. And I remember thinking to myself, I wonder if I could have gone more. Like the goal was get back to the house, but if the house was another K away, could I have made it? Even though like I wanted to stop, like I wanted to, this is what I wanted to do. There was a little bit of me that was like, I wonder if I could have gone more. I wonder if there's more in me, And I think what it did was like move the goalpost in terms of my breaking point. Like I thought what I could have accomplished was here. And because of that, I've gone up to here.
Yep.
And from that moment, I realized like if I could do that, push myself so hard with something that I do not enjoy, didn't train for it. Not only did I train for it, I don't like running. Even if I train for it, I still hate it. So I wonder if I can push myself to this point during something that I hate, what can I do with something that I love, that I'm passionate about? And it was like the biggest eye-opening thing where I can always like go back to it and go, I can get through this.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's one of the most incredible experiences you'll ever
Yeah.
have. I think that's life. Like it really is what it represents as life. It's just condensed. So you can see the start, middle, and end. And I think that's one thing we love, we take for granted in life, is there is an end point. We just don't know when. But if we're doing hard shit, it's like when you start, the excitement's there, as you said, you're kicking off. You're like, how good's this going to be? And then the dip comes at some point. It's different for everyone. In that dip, that's when you're like, why the hell did I decide to do this? Why I don't even like this in the first place, or my knees aching, my ankles are aching. Can I get through it? And then you see the last 1,500 meters, and you're like, whoa, I could do another 10K probably.
Yeah.
And that's where you realize you're sort of kicking the can in terms of what your threshold is, because all these limitations we have are self-imposed from our environment, from things that we've done or not done in the past. And once in my belief is I've never felt sad or unhappy when I've been striving for more, which is coming back to like, do I feel worthy? And that whole trap that I feel I'm in, or the psychs think that I'm in. And once again, I'm not knocking them. I love my psychologist, but we just butt heads on this one point. Is for me, I'm like, I have bad days, but when I'm pushing through something and I put my head on the pillow at night, knowing that I have given it everything that I have, and this is whether it's me doing 58 marathons, or in my relationship having a tough conversation, or doing something from a career standpoint, I can put my head down. I'm like, you did everything you could do today. Tomorrow, the threshold is higher.
You're proud of yourself.
And so I'm proud of myself, but I demand more. Like I'm content, but I'm going one more. And that, to me, I guess going back to the 58, like it represented the marathon of life. For us, when I decided to do it, I didn't just wake up wanting to do 58 marathons. Like no one does that. Wakes up and goes, oh, that's a good idea. Maybe they'll go, I'll run 75Ks, but not 58, because there's
back to back.
Yeah, there's logistics. We're traveling. We needed sponsors. We were going to raise over $100,000. The goal was $100,000, but I'd started doing that back in 2014. Like part of that journey of me finding myself, fitness was one of the places where I'd always felt comfortable, and it's something that also I knew I was good at. So to stack some small wins and get some runs on the board and try and get my confidence back, I got back into fitness, like heavy. And you said CrossFit, I started doing CrossFit, and we started running charity events. And the reason why I was running these events was I wanted to fundraise for mental health, because I had struggled. And we partnered with a company back then, or a charity back then, called Livin', which is a Gold Coast-based charity. We ran one called Wadden for Livin', and it was my first taste, and I'd co-ran it with function well. And I just remember how cool it was bringing people together. They were having conversations. We raised maybe $5,000. But the greatest thing was when people were doing these challenges, seeing them push themselves and, I can't believe I did that sled push or the 30 cals on the airdyne or all the things that they did. And so every year I was like, I'm going to do another one. And every year the challenges got a little bit bigger, aimed to raise a little bit more money. And it got to the point where they got a little bit too extreme to have community involved, but I wanted to inspire the community by, letting them, by documenting it. In 2022, I did 30 rowing marathons in 30 days.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which was awesome experience. But the thing for me that changed the game for me and made me want to do this bigger was a guy called Scott. He's about 52, not built like a rower, but he came every day. And so once again, we were just documenting it, not really inviting people just because of liability. He did 5K every day. Then we got to, into the 20s and he started going 10K. Then I think he ended up doing 4 half marathons. And on the last day, he did a marathon with me. And watching how much confidence it gave him, like this dude's getting the same as me. He's taping his hands up, getting blisters. He's like, it hurts, but I'm still going. Like he went through that whole experience where it's so exciting. The dip comes and then you're on your last day and you're doing something you didn't think was ever in your future. And this guy has now gone on to start his own business, doing really well in that. And I've just seen how it's transformed his life.
So good.
And so when we moved to America, I had plenty of time. And I was on the phone with the Iron Cowboy who did 50 Ironmen in 50 days across 50 states. And I was talking to him. And he's like, it's such an incredible experience seeing what you're capable of. For him, he redefined impossible. Hands down the greatest ultra-endurance athlete on the planet. And he said, I got to do this incredible adventure with my family. He had 4 young kids I think they were under 9 at the time. So that would have been crazy. And then he also got to raise funds for a charity that was important to him. And I got off that call. I just turned to my wife and I was like, I think I know what I'm doing next. And I was like, I don't know how many marathons, but I'm going to do some marathons.
What did she say?
And she's like, fuck you are. And I was like, all right, fair enough. Like, that makes sense. And I also knew, I was like, I'm probably just excited because I just got off the call with James. But anyway, the next 2 weeks, I was just obsessing over it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm thinking, all right, 50 states, we'll do Australia. I want to finish in Australia. That's 58. What about New Zealand? I'm like North Island, South Island, we could do that. And then I looked, it was like 16 regions or something. I was like, it's probably pushing it for marathons. Yeah. So we decided on that. I had to turn to my wife one morning. I was like, I've got to do this. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. And she's like, yeah, you're being real weird. Like, figure it out. Yeah. But she said to me, she's like, I know you got to do it because it would be hypocritical of me to expect you to move halfway around the world to chase my dreams and me not support you to chase yours. And
even though when I don't understand it,
I
don't get it.
I have no idea. And like, I didn't really have a good sales pitch for it. But I think that was also part of the beauty of me being so naive is I didn't overcomplicate it. And that's like what I was saying at the beginning. I love making things simple because if I think they're simple, I believe that I can achieve it. And then, the moment that happens, I told a mate and he's like, oh, I'll sponsor you and I'm going to meet you in Alaska for the first one. I was like, awesome. Fuck, now it's real.
now I've got to do it.
Now I've got to do it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the greatest lessons on goal setting is like, if you make your goals visible, you're going to, once again, deal with those 3 people I mentioned before. But you then start going, okay, this is like ridiculous. I've only ever run 4 marathons in my life. How am I going to do 58 back to back? How are we going to fund it? What's the story? Because I wanted to, once again, bring people on. We were going to raise funds, and a number that scared me was 100,000. In hindsight, probably a little small, but that scared the shit out of me.
Even logistics, like where do you start? Like, how, how do you work through the 50 states?
Yeah, well, that was. I'm grateful for my brother-in-law because he loves mapping stuff out. But we knew, like speaking with James, the Iron Cowboy, like this is the thing. 3 people have done it in history, so I was the 3rd person.
Really?
Yeah. And so I was the first person in history to do it in winter. The only person to do it in winter ever. Ever, obviously, if I'm the only person. But James Lawrence obviously did it with Ironman. And then the other guy is Dan, I always forget his last name, but so he wrote a book about it. And we've all done it different routes. So the other guys started in Hawaii, went Hawaii, Alaska, and got their flying out of the way. But I needed, like, we played around with multiple ones. And we're like, okay, we have to start in Alaska to get that flight. Then we can drive mainland. But I need Hawaii, because if I didn't have Hawaii as a stopover, I wouldn't have got my marathon in the 24-hour period to make it consecutive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we flew from Alaska, got a motorhome, and then just went pretty much across the top, obviously zigzagging. We're literally a day ahead of a blizzard. Every morning you'd wake up, check your phone, and I had procrastination now because I just didn't want to be doing it every day. Check my phone, it's like minus 22 with wind chill, and you're like, nah. And the boys like, the time's started. You got an hour to eat, get your ankles taped, get going. And so logistically, I was a nightmare for the boys because we knew not only did I have to run a marathon, I got injured on day one. So like,
how bad?
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like I spent 14 months raising funds, doing all the promo, getting the team together, training. And on day one, I got injured.
What did you do, tear a muscle or something?
No, it kicked me toe.
You kicked your toe?
So what happened, Alaska, as everyone can imagine, it's like, it is literally. So Alaska's icy and very cold. And when you're running in those conditions, you should probably have like some kind of spike so you don't slip. We got there 3 days early. I was running around in my New Balances and everyone's like, dude, get some like spikes or at least some trail shoes. And I was like, no, it's fine. The day before, like the afternoon, the very last possible minute, I was like, I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to go grab some trail shoes. Went down to the shop, tried them on, didn't do anything with them, but just tried them on to see if they fit. They fit. 7 a.m. the next morning, put them on, and 5K in, I just felt my toe like bashing the top of my shoe. And one of the logistical problems we had was like we had time frames to get to the next state, but also like on that occasion, I had to get on a plane at a certain period of time. So I had to be at the airport. And I was like, okay, in order to make this work, in my head, I'm thinking I want to do sub 4 hours because I want to shut the haters up. I also want to make my flight. So I'm like, if I stop and tie my shoelace up, we're going to lose momentum, which is not true at all. But when you...
Sounds good.
Yeah, the emotion was high. Anyway, so the next 37K, my toe just bashed the end of my shoe. Got inside, took my sock and shoe off. My toe had started going black. I was like, damn it, like I'm potentially injured. It's right. Got the flight. We actually missed the flight, but got another flight, got into Seattle at 1 in the morning, I think it was. Then we had to drive to Yakima for our next run. Next day I woke up, my ankle started swelling. And I was like, oh, it's probably just because my toes busted. The third day, day 3, I wake up and I'm running 42K every day here. Day 3, both ankles are now starting to blow up. I was like, what's going on here? Day 4, it's like both ankles are like, I couldn't do my shoes up and they were the size of a baseball. And now my whole leg looks like the same thickness. I don't have big calves, but my shins my shins were just fat, man. Yeah. And so that day became a bit challenging to run. It was sort of like a slow shuffle, started to burn. Day 5, I woke up.
Where were you in day 5?
West Wendover in Nevada. So in a desert, but with a beautiful casino.
Yeah.
Like, Nevada just loves its casinos. Yeah. But I woke up as soon as my feet hit the floor, I was like, something's not good here. Like I'd popped my toe the day before just to try and like through the toenail release some pressure.
A bit of pressure, yeah.
And it just didn't help. So I put my feet on the ground. I'm like, all right, we're in a motorhome. I've got about 15 meters to walk to the public shower. I'm going to go just like sit in there and soak my feet. And 20 minutes later, the pain was still there. And I was like, we just got to get on with it. And as I look around, I'm like, I can't run the inclines, can't run to the mountains. There's a baseball diamond just across the road. So I told Liam, don't worry about moving the van, keep the van here. I'll just head over there and start walking laps of this 350-meter baseball diamond. And it was the most excruciating pain I've ever experienced, not only physically but mentally, because you're running 42 kilometers around a 350-meter pitch with nothing to look at. And
it's mental torture
almost.
Dude,
I beat myself up. Like, I call myself every name under the sun. It's like, who are you to think you could do something like this? Who are you to think you could raise $100,000? Like, you should just listen to everyone. As I'm walking, I still look down at my watch and it's 14 minutes per kilometer. So I'm looking at like 10 hours out in minus 12 degrees on that specific day, just shuffling around. There's the most miserable photo of me in like a pink hat with a beanie and just like walking and hating myself.
Should be other people looking at it going, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, like literally. Well, this is how small some of the towns we were in. There was literally 0 people. Or occasionally they'd be like, what are you doing in our town? I'm like, in a pink hat too. Like some of those southern states.
Oh, yeah. Take that off.
Oh, yeah. It's great. Like you don't, it's wild.
And running a marathon, you're like, why?
Yeah, fucking lunatic.
Nutter.
But on that day, and I had this wave come over me, and it's to the point that you were saying, like, I chose to do this. I wanted to see what my breaking point was. I'm fucking at it. And I'm not reacting or responding in the way that I thought I would. The thing with is in life is that when we see people achieve great things, we expect that, if they're still here to tell the story, like maybe we can do it. And one of the biggest challenges I think anyone also faces in that, and I still think it's the biggest thing I'm struggling with at the moment, is I don't see what I did as extraordinary. 2 years ago when I first started planning, I couldn't get my head around doing it. And just like the new thing that I'm working on, I can't get my head around doing it. But there comes a tipping point where you put in all this work and you obsess over it to a point it just becomes real in your head that it's all you know. And when that happens, you go, there's no other way that I can not achieve this. And I'd never experienced that before. And even now, it happens all the time. And I'm like, it's not a big deal. Like,
you always play it down.
It is what it is. Like, we're on, it's a chapter of my life, awesome, but I don't see it as extraordinary. In that moment, though, as I'm going through that self-annihilation, but then I had that wave crash over me, I'm like, you've got 2 choices. And you've always got 2 choices. And unfortunately, both of them suck for me right now. The first one is you quit. And it's like,
that's not an option.
That's not an option. Like, you put your feet up, you get a pizza pocket, you're warm. Like, that sounds pretty cool. But you have to live with the fact that you quit. You have to let down the charity and not raise the funds that you did. And you're ruining your reputation.
I guess you'll regret that for the rest of your life.
You got to live with that, dude. Like, as soon as I said you got to live with that, I'm like, I don't want to live with that.
No.
Fuck, no way. And the second option, which I also didn't like, was like, you just keep putting one foot in front of the other. It's excruciating to a level that I just can't.
Still the worst?
Worst by a long shot. I've never experienced pain like that. Like, ever. Like, ever. It's hard to explain because it just burnt. Like, insane amounts of pain.
What do you learn in the suffering?
I think it's you are forced to have those conversations with yourself. I think part of, we talk about what was my rock bottom was at that moment, that was a form of suffering because I couldn't run. And so in that moment, I'd built an environment where it was almost impossible to want to fail because I'd made it so public. I'd set such an ambitious goal that it was almost like, okay, this pain sucks, but I feel like that could be worse, losing, not doing it.
Imagine living with that regret of quitting. It would haunt you forever. The pain will go away.
Literally, and the pain does. And like I was actually taking the screenshots today because I found them through my phone of medical professionals messaging me saying like, you should stop. You've got compartment syndrome. You've got stress fracture. Like, everyone's telling me what I've got and why I shouldn't be doing it anymore. And granted, like, I'm on day 5. I've still got 53 marathons to go. Part of me was like, you're probably right. But the upside to like keep going and to staying out in the freezing cold where I was getting frostbite and all kinds of stuff was that I had a shot. Like, I wasn't guaranteed, but I had a shot at raising the $100,000. I had a shot at becoming the first person in history to do this thing. But most importantly, when I put my head on the pillow tonight, I did exactly what I said I'd fucking do.
Yeah, you are the man that you said you are.
Yeah, and that, to me, like, that motivated me to the point where I tried to run again and lasted all of 3 steps. And then I had to go back to the walk. But after that, my brother-in-law came out of the motorhome's like, answer your phone. A physio is trying to call you. I called him back. And Paul, he's my physio from Brisbane. He's awesome. He's like, Lockie, I've seen what's been going on. And this is how unorganized I was. I didn't even have a health professional. I didn't have health insurance for this in America, which is
wild.
Bad mistake. But Paul's like, all right, I've seen everything that's going on. I gave him a quick rundown. He's like, okay, do you want me to treat you as a friend or as a health professional? And I said, you wouldn't ask me that if you needed me to say friend. So I'm
Yeah,
going to say
it's
friend.
friend,
Let's
yeah.
go with that. And so we put a plan in place. Is like, we've got a plan. This is what I think's happened. So what he actually thought had happened, because I jabbed my toe, my ankle got locked up and it was just like bone on bone. And then because I was running awkwardly, my other ankle did the exact same thing, and the swelling, like, because I was so fat, there was no movement to glide.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're just going to get you on a heavy dose of anti-inflammatories over the next 2 to 3 weeks, and we're going to hopefully get that inflammation down and reduce the pain, and hopefully you can start running in like 2 to 3 weeks. I was like, that's better than the options I had. I was thinking of crutches and various other things, so let's do that.
Yeah.
Got the next day, Etienne rocked up, who I played rugby with, and he's smarter than I am. Once again, this is where it's so important to have a great team and people who think differently to you. He's a psychologist now. He comes over and he's like, all right, got a strategy for us. How far do you think you can run today? I was like, 300 probably. Like, that's my pain threshold. And then
What day is this?
This is day 6.
Straight after,
This
yeah.
is literally
Oh,
the next.
shit.
This is how well this worked. Day 6, so I'm doing 800 milligrams of ibuprofen, like, which is like every 4 hours. So borderline. And when
A
your
lot.
kidneys are already stressing, not ideal. But he said, okay, perfect. 300 meter run, 2 kilometer walk. And we did that for the entire day. And we dropped maybe like 90 minutes off the marathon from the day before. But that showed me the power of stacking small wins, because the next day we increased 400 on, 1900 off, and so on all the way till Chicago, which was day 15, where I ran my first marathon again.
So you were getting better while doing the marathon.
Yeah, which still has blown everyone's mind. Like, how can your body heal when you're running a marathon a day? And then I ended up getting faster and faster and faster and faster. And
What do you put that down to? Willpower.
man, I honestly don't know, because what I wish I had done, and even what because Paul was a lecturer at the uni, and he was obviously talking to other medical professionals there. They're like, we should have tested him. I think, knowing my training history, I think I'm lucky. Or I'm not lucky, but I prepared in the fact that I'd done so much strength training over the years. I'm not built like a marathon runner. So when my ligaments were under the pump and everything like that, they were
Strong.
Yeah. I do think, like, it's 100% physical and it's 100% mental. There's no like, oh, it's fucking 90% mental, 10% physical. It's all everything. Like, you're on, like,
It's 110% everything.
Every day I was just like, physically this sucks balls, mentally this sucks balls, but anyone, like, my crew could do everything else.
Yeah.
And if they didn't feel like doing the certain thing, someone else could do it. But no one else could run.
I felt like that was like such a turning point, like that day where you wanted to quit. And it almost like put you in good stead for the rest of the...
Dude, if Paul didn't call me, like, even though I believe I would have finished that marathon that day, but Liam, like, he didn't tell me this during it, but they've told me since we've got the doco coming out, like, he was calling our videographer being like, I think we're about to pull the pin. And like, Liam's the most chill dude you'll ever meet, like, never stresses. And it was the first time I've seen him worried. And I was like, okay, well, I'm glad you didn't tell me that in the moment. But Paul calling, even though it wasn't a guaranteed plan, it still gave me hope. And I think having hope that I could reduce pain and that I could, the strategy, those small wins, like which Etienne implemented, because I wouldn't have ever thought of that.
No.
There's no chance in the world I would have been like, I'm going to run, walk. I would have just been like, let's all in run or let's all in walk. And if I all in walked, we wouldn't have made it. Like, we would have lost so much time.
Yeah.
So, like, those two people were so pivotal in that moment. But you would have thought I would have learnt and I would have been tolerant, but I still made plenty more mistakes. Like, talk about emotional maturity, and when you get so fatigued, like, I was so banged up that I literally couldn't think for myself. Like, I had to, there was day 27. It was icy as, and the footage we've got of this is insane. Like, I was going everywhere and I was just slipping on black ice, and I was so pissed off, as you could imagine. It's the last thing you want to be doing. And I found this place like 8K away from where we were staying, where the boys were, because it was so cold they decided to stay inside. And I did my little run. I came back to get some food. No, actually, they came down to me to bring like a snack and some water, like extra electrolytes. And so I got in the van. I'm heating up my hands because it was so cold. Anyway, I couldn't get my glove on because everything was just moist. And so I was like, had a tantrum, threw the gloves on the ground, left my waters, and I just took off. I get about another 8K in. I was feeling awesome at this point, but I get another 8K in and I'm shivering.
Yeah.
I'm very hungry. I'm thirsty as all buggery. And then I'm looking to blame the boys. Like, how the hell could they let me go off like this? I'm 8K away. I don't have my gloves. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I took a video, just been like, because I honestly thought I was going to be in a bit of strife in that moment. And when you feel like your life's over, you start thinking about what actually matters. Yeah. And I took this video just being like, I don't give a crap about the titles, the recognition, the money. All I care about is like my family. Like, that's it. And I also wanted to blame the boys, but I called Etienne and I said, can you just like come back down and bring hot stuff? Like whatever's warm, bring it because I need it. And lucky I had enough time to get over the anger and the being pissed off that by the time I got back to the van, I was like, okay, boys, we need to have a meeting tonight because that could have been real bad. Like one, I'm also don't have health insurance. So if anything does go wrong, it's not good.
Yeah.
But in the meeting, I'm like, I just need to, like, I need to give you guys new roles because I'm trying to take on too much. And that's my fault because I had this belief that if you want something done well, do it yourself. And I also thought they'd left their family at home, they'd left their work at home, and they'd come to support me. I can't just dump more shit on them. But they were more than happy to help. And it was also the goal. Like we were all there collectively. I wouldn't have been able to, I was the one in the spotlight, I guess. But without the team,
you couldn't have done it.
It's not possible at all. Not possible at all.
What did you feel when you finished? Like all the fucking shit that you've gone through, all the pain, and all like the suffering. Like when you finished, I know you said before that you were just like talking it down. Like, you know, before you started, you're thinking this is an incredible feat. I don't know if I'll be able to do this. And then when you finished it, you're sort of brushing it off. Did you feel a sense of accomplishment? Were you proud of yourself? You know, that question that people ask you, like, what's next? Was there a what's next thing for you, or were you pretty stoked with what you achieved and the team achieved?
I was definitely stoked. Like, I can't believe we pulled it off. Like, because so many things had to
go right.
Yeah. Like the weather, the vehicle not breaking down, like so many things we were very lucky. Like there has to be a stroke of luck on that. So there was definitely a level of accomplishment for sure. Having the opportunity to sit down and think about it, though it's still happening. Like I've been writing, doing the book and doing the doco. It's like you think a lot, which is great. And even interviewing my mates who were there and like hearing their takeaways or how they interpreted things.
Their points of view.
Oh, dude, wild.
This is a different story.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, literally. It's happened multiple times. I'm like, what? I don't remember.
How I pictured it was different to how you guys went through it.
But their
that's
stories,
pretty cool though, because they would have their own versions of the
literally, yeah. And that's one of the coolest things, right? Like so many people on the same journey or in the same bus, but seeing something in a completely different way because, you know, like Etienne was away from his young son and Ben was away from his missus and business. Liam had literally got married. We were in Mexico for his wedding and this was his honeymoon with me. Like everyone had given up stuff. So they're also got their own stresses back home and they're also worried about me. So everyone would have been interpreting things in a completely different way, but it's cool to hear their stories. It's cool to hear their perspectives. But
this episode is brought to you by TLC Recovery Centre on the Sunshine Coast. Whether you're chasing peak performance or just need to reset, TLC has everything you need. Infrared saunas to help detox your body, reduce inflammation, improve circulation and calm the nervous system, leaving you feeling lighter, clearer and more recovered after every session. They've got cold plunges to reduce inflammation, boost mood and mental clarity and build resilience. They've got compression boots to speed up muscle repair and massage therapists who know exactly what your body needs. But what really sets TLC apart? The people. The owners are the kind of good humans you want in your corner. Down to earth, genuinely care and deeply invested in the local community. Head to TLC Sunshine Coast, use the code TLC15MYH to receive 15% off and experience it for yourself.
To understand what we achieved is still mind-blowing.
Processing it,
because physically I'm like so grateful for my body and proud of my body and my mind that I can do that. I'm grateful for my wife that she was supportive and allowed us to do that, but also the team, how the hell we pulled it off, like, is mind-blowing. And then I still remember, like, the moment I cried and actually allowed myself to feel it and appreciate it was actually in Hawaii when we had Hell Week, because once I knew I was going back to Australia and I knew I had healthcare, I was like, I don't care what happens. Like, anything could happen, and I know I'm going to a good hospital.
Yeah.
So as I'm running the last 1,500 meters of Hawaii, which is my second marathon in 12 hours, I'm just like running through. I'm like, holy crap! Like, you've just done the 50 states marathons. Like, people spend their whole life trying to tick off a marathon in all 50 states.
You did it in
I've done it in 50 days.
50 days.
And
straight from Hawaii to Australia.
yeah, so I went. So what Hell Week was, and I always forget to talk about this, but I think it's very important. Hell Week was what I was most worried about, because it was going to be 4 marathons in 48 hours with international flights. We finished the marathon in LA and had to drop the van back and then fly straight to Hawaii. We landed in Hawaii at 10:30 at night, and so technically we had to start after midnight for the next one, and we were going to do it at 4 in the morning, catch our flight at 11, but I was like, I needed to eat. So I was going to stay up till midnight anyway. I was like, I'll just run the marathon now. So we did that, finished at 4:30, got to sleep till 6, so got 90 minutes sleep, got on a 12-hour flight or a 10-hour flight to Sydney, landed in Sydney at 7:30 p.m, had to run a marathon by midnight. So we went straight to the Opera House and ran. There was like 30 people there, which was awesome. Did that marathon, so finished that at midnight, and then got up. I think we were on a 6 a.m. flight to Canberra, and then did another marathon in Canberra, and then had to fly to Melbourne that afternoon. So it was just like, logistically, once again, if we missed any of those flights, we were screwed.
Yeah.
I was literally running off bugger all
I
sleep.
was going to ask you, what are you running off? Anything?
Just routine. I honestly think it was routine,
because you've done 50 before. You're like, this is my daily routine.
This is it.
I
think that
really?
is it, because you were
Embraced
saying
it.
outside, like, you were sore for a week after your marathon, right? So was I. But after you've backed up for a week, it's just like, it's what you do.
The body's used to it.
Your body's like, 7 a.m, shit.
Isn't it incredible how your body can get used to that sort of suffering?
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But I think that's the pain, like, how your body gets used to that's its new threshold on what it's dealing with on a daily basis, that it just becomes normal. So you're like, okay, that's cool. Like, I couldn't sleep at night for the first, like, 3.5 weeks. I got all my Whoop data. Like, the sheet on my feet would wake me up because the pain was so much. If it would just, like, move.
Like, that Whoop data would be out of control.
Oh, it's nuts.
Do you have it all?
Yeah, I have everything. I documented a lot of stuff.
Was it mental?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sleep was shocking. My heart rate was elevated constantly.
Your recovery would be terrible.
Recovery was tanked.
Yeah.
I lost 4 kilos in the first 2 weeks because the first 2 weeks was just Liam and I. We didn't have Ben as documentary or Etienne there. So we were just figuring things out. And so when I got injured on day 1, we're not worrying about feeding me straight after or doing all the things you should be doing. We're just like, how the hell is your foot going? Like, we need to find ice. Like, we need to bag up some snow outside. And
we're in survival mode.
Yeah, we're in survival mode. And so, when my sister-in-law came over, she's like, you look ill. Like, how skinny you are. I'm going to fatten you up. So we started eating
tuck it up.
Yeah.
How different are you? Do you feel like the version of you before you started versus the version of you afterwards? Do you think there's a massive shift in who you are?
Massive. I've always been ambitious, but I think there was part of me who was afraid to go after what I wanted, and that's professionally. And so now I'm just like, I've been playing so small in my career, in my life, and I am truly confident that I can do big things. And so that proved that to me. We got so much shit thrown at us, from media stuff to not only physically, but my wife and I were going through IVF during that, so it put a lot of stress on our marriage. So we dealt with everything. And I'm like, if I can get through all of that, and I know the people who supported me through that, and they're going to be there throughout my life, like, why am I hiding in the shadows doing the stuff that I'm doing?
Playing small.
Yeah, like, it just has empowered me to just go for it for the exact same reason as I've always been doing things, but I've always been reserved. Whereas now I'm like, there's no more reserved. Let's
Yeah, I
just
love that.
go for it.
So you're writing a book about the experience.
Yes.
And there's a documentary. I saw a little trailer
Mate,
for
yeah,
it.
well, the doco was supposed to be done.
Yeah. Is it not done yet?
No.
Finishing touches.
It's nearly done, but
Yeah.
one of our awesome sponsors has sponsored this run. I can't remember. I'm so bad with that. A running film festival. So we went the other night and it was supposed to be premiered there, but unfortunately it was just the trailer. But it was still awesome. And it was so good to be in the running community and see some of the incredible docos that are coming out in that space and the messages behind it. And
when can I see it?
3 weeks, hopefully.
3 weeks.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you having a premiere?
We are going to have a premiere, yeah.
Where's the screening at?
We're going to do one in New Farm. We've got a campaign coming out soon.
Yeah.
Because I want to do some regional road shows as well.
Yeah. Come up to the sunny coast,
yeah,
mate. We'll
mate,
love it.
I will because we just want to get that message in front of people, like the message of what it was for me and what it represented to me was all season and all terrain, because life is exactly like the marathon of life, all seasons, all terrain. As we said, sometimes you're in winter, other times you're in summer, and it's important to know that one's always around the corner. What can you do? And
even the metaphor is 1 foot in front of the other. Like, that's
Literally.
what you're thinking about every day, was just 1 foot in front of the other. And we
Yeah.
can all do that. We all have that power in us.
yeah, and sometimes it's a fast foot in front of the other.
Yeah,
other times
sometimes 300-meter walk
Yep.
or whatever it is.
Yep.
Like,
So yeah, no, I'm we learned so much, and to be able to use that as a resource for people that hopefully inspires them to see what they're capable of, and just to know what that's like, because quite often we see when people are at the end goal, we don't ever get to really see what it's like going through that. And even for the next one that I'm working on, I did my first video on it today because I want to show the stuff that I didn't capture this time, which is like, here's me saying this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I don't believe it's possible for me right now. And here's me about to break it to my wife what's happening and her reaction, and then I'm going to do it to...
what's the next one?
I can't say.
I thought so,
And
yeah.
the reason why I don't want to say it is because as soon as I verbalize it, it's like it has to happen.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
If I voice it and verbalize it and tell anyone, it's locked in.
Yep.
I've got to do it.
Exactly.
I'm so stubborn like that. It's because I made a promise to myself that I was going to, be more accountable to the things that comes out of my mouth.
Yep.
If I say I'm going to do something, I've got to do it. And I'm the exact same thing. I'll hold off until I know that it's like I'm going to do it. Otherwise, I can't say it either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's good to do though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It's, but yeah, I'm going through that exact same process. We want to tidy up this experience and get the doco out, get the book out, and impact as many people with it.
Yeah.
But then when this one comes, this will be more performance based rather than like ultra endurance.
Yeah.
But same thing. I'm shit scared of it. I don't think it's possible for me personally.
Even everything that you've gone through.
Everything else.
Even doing 58 states in 58 days, you're looking at this next challenge going, I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know what it is then.
Well, it's because it's more performance based, right? Like it has to be. So
we're playing a game of charades here, aren't we?
Yeah,
We're trying to figure out what it is. No, it's all right. You don't have to say, but it's going to be worse.
Yeah, it's going to be harder.
It's
For
gonna be
me,
harder,
I think
yeah.
it's going to be challenging.
Okay.
Yep.
That's incredible. You talked about, before you were playing small and now you're just like your dreams and aspirations, like are larger than life. Talk to me about sort of the Man That Can project. Does that stem from the 58 states in 58 days?
Yeah, so I started the Man That Can project in 2017 off the back of my own challenges and starting those fitness events. But one of the things that was missing in my life was good role models. And role models, like I said, I wanted to be successful. At the time, the measurement was money. But what I realized was I needed more than that because I started meeting people who had money who were on their third marriage. They didn't talk to their kids. They were overweight and weren't happy. So I was in Austria one day and I got a message on Instagram from someone asking me about something I'd posted. And I was getting common questions. So I just remember being like, when I get back to Brisbane, let's just run an event for this. This would be sweet. So I ran my first men's circle. And this was before men's circles were
A thing.
This was when everyone thought it was like a bunch of fucking weirdos. And so I put this out there that we wanted to do it. But my intent was I wanted to get in the room with people from all walks of life who were exceptional at things that I wasn't. so I could learn from them. And the first one we had 6 people. Then over time we ended up getting like 30 men in them, from doctors, lawyers, 18-year-olds, bricklayers, builders, like all walks of life. And it was insane, man. Like people would walk in there with shit and come out feeling lighter. And what was really cool was we were all the same. Like we all had
Common
problems
themes,
and themes. It just showed up in a different way. But people weren't feeling valued. They didn't feel like they had purpose. They felt stuck. All of this sort of stuff. But over time, I saw they weren't doing anything about it. And I started to carry that because I'm like, this dude's so awesome. Like he's got so much potential. Like, why are you not changing something? Like you're getting insights and perspective from people. Do something. And I got frustrated, and my wife's like, why don't you just start like showing them how to do it? And I was like, oh, I'm not qualified. She's like, well, figure that out. Like, go do something then. And I was like,
that's not a roadblock.
yeah, I was like,
yeah,
you're smart.
yeah.
And so I did that, and then it led into like, oh, okay, I'm not going to be Lachlan Stuart anymore. I want to build a business and something that is bigger than me. It's our community. And once again, my wife's like, well, you always talk about what you can do. Why don't you make it the man that can? And I was like, because it's like the man that can be an exceptional husband, the man that can run 58 marathons, the man that can, whatever you want, you put your ending.
You can do it.
Yeah, and we just grew off the back of that into workshops, retreats, and coaching, which is what we've done. And we've always stayed focused on men because I feel there's a need for it. There's something that I get out of being around just with the boys, where you can share your vulnerabilities, you can grow together, that shared suffering even.
Yeah, that
like
brotherhood. Yeah, for sure. What are men craving that they don't know how to ask for?
I think we are just craving permission to be ourselves. We've adopted many, and I'll speak for myself, but I just know that a lot of men that I am fortunate to spend time with are just, you know, that what I was talking about before, it's like a lot of people have an idea of what they want to be doing with their life. So many people say it to me, and I'm sure they say it to you, but like, I wish I just could do what you're doing. Well, you can. You maybe have a few hurdles. Maybe you have, and when I say hurdles, I mean in the nicest way. You might have a mortgage that makes you be more considerate with your finances. You may have children, which means you need to be more considerate of your time. But that's not a reason why you can't do it. And then there's also the environment. Like a lot of blokes might hang around with, you know, people where their way of catching up is getting on the piss, but they want to go for a hike. It's like, okay, well, you get to change the narrative and you get to have the permission to be you. But if you aren't feeling confident, then that's a different story. And so when you decide, hey, like for me, I decided I wanted to change my life because I was looking at the direction that it was going and I didn't like that. I didn't know what that was going to look like, what I would be doing for work, or who I was going to be hanging around with. They were all uncertainties, but I just made the decision I was going to move in that direction. So it was trial and error. But I had to have confidence in myself to move forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's, one of the biggest.
Because how does someone build that confidence? Because that's something that I definitely lacked. And from my own personal experience, building my confidence was going through failure, realizing that I'm not going to die. Nothing bad happens to you. You know, it's not as scary as you think it is. And then picking yourself back up again and trying again and then trying again and then trying again to the point now where I'm confident in my own ability, even in situations where I haven't tried before. Podcasting.
Yep.
Never done it before. And I was just like, I have failed before though. And it's not as scary as people think it is. So I might just give it a go and see what happens. And the first season, ups and downs, you know, still figuring out your way. But how do you think someone can build their confidence?
Simply as you put, for me, confidence is built. So if I look at confidence and I would then link it to like self-esteem. So for example, if I'm talking about self-esteem, it's my overall view of myself. So if I think I'm a good person across the board, it's because there's a lot of little things that I'm confident in and proud of. If I'm looking at confidence, it is in relation to a specific skill. What makes anyone confident is repetition. But what repetition teaches us is what's missing in order to make it better. And so if you're finding it overwhelming, for example, if you're wanting to start a podcast and you're like, I just couldn't even speak on camera, I'm shit scared of that. Well, what could you do first that would move you in the direction of that? You could start videoing yourself or speaking to yourself in the mirror. Get comfortable with that. Start then filming yourself and then sending it to a friend. Like as a video, man. I do it to the lads all the time. We do like a weekly Wednesday catch up where we'll
little
just
WhatsApp,
little
like
WhatsApp
videos.
update. Hey boys, I'm just in the toilet. No.
Yeah.
But you're developing the skill because confidence is a skill set. And like I was saying earlier, if you give people frameworks, that is like the steps that they need to take to get an outcome. Confidence is like also part of a feeling. Like, do I believe I can do that? You won't ever know until you go through that, because each step it's going to require a new version of yourself. You're going to have to upgrade, which means you're going to have to go through a challenge. You're going to have to challenge beliefs. You're going to have to prove to yourself that there's evidence that you're capable. And when you get enough, I guess, pillars in your life where you do feel confident, like you just said, where it's like, you know, you could do anything that you set your mind to. I'm the exact same.
Yeah.
I'm so confident in my ability that I will be able to be resourceful and you find what needs to be found in order to achieve it, and I will be able to solve any problem. Hands down.
And that doesn't say that we're not afraid or we're not, like, you know, scared by it. We're not
Every level.
Yeah, every level. It's always going to be the element of fear. And it's funny with like confidence and especially like courage, like you get the confidence by doing the action, not the other way around. You don't get the confidence and then do the action. It's you got to go through it.
You got to go.
And the reward is you get confidence through that. Boy, other people wait to be confident before they try the thing.
Exactly. Once again, to keep it simple, whatever it is that you want to do, chunk it down or break it down, compartmentalize it to the point that you find a step that you could actually take. Something that you're like, that's going to move me towards where I want to be, and I do believe I can do that. 300 meters.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought I'd be running 300 meters. And I was running like when I say running, I was like, I was like, when I got back to running even Chicago, I was still doing like 9-minute kilometers. I didn't think I could run that slow for me. Like, context, I'd normally be running like 5-minute 15 Ks on these marathons. So to me, that's walking pace. But I got that experience, and then I was like, oh, if I could just get back to 7 minutes 30, how good?
There's small little wins.
Those small little wins. So for me, it's not that you can't achieve anything. It just maybe you need to move the timelines of when it's possible, but just chunk it down to the most minute point where you're like, I can do that thing.
I love that, because something that I've definitely incorporated in my life over the last couple of years is the promises I keep to myself. You know, I would always go back to why I say things, and I got to do it, because before I would always just say, yeah, I'll go do that. And I wasn't a man to my word. And I had to really fix that, not with the things I said to other people, but it had to start with the things I would say to myself. So the promises I would say to myself. So I would always hold myself accountable. Now I do. I didn't before, but, you know, in the middle of winter where I've got a sauna and cold plunge at my place, and I'm like, every day I got to go in it. Every day, you know? And it got to a point where I'm so stubborn and almost a little bit superstitious that if I didn't do it, I felt like something bad was going to happen, you know? But like, they're the things that build your self-confidence, but my self-respect too. And that relationship I have with myself, I know I can do things because I hold those promises to myself. And they're the things that really like helped my mental state when it was so low. Was like, you going to the gym, you told yourself you was going to the gym. You know, you're going to go do that because you told yourself you're going to do it. And it doesn't have to be big things, like, you know, there could be chores around the house. You know, you said you're going to do it.
Literally, yeah.
They're the small habits that create those big changes in your life.
To that point, because I everything you said, I think, is 100% true. I found myself, I used to struggle with that because I was overcommitting to things. So for anyone who feels like they're overcommitting to things, you've just got to come back down to like what's really important to you. And once again, what is the thing that you could do in that domain of life, whether it's because I think I use the term daily deposits, where I want to do a daily deposit in my relationship because at some point I'm going to need credit, you know.
Yeah, I love that.
And same with my health and those areas. So what am I doing today to do that deposit? And I'm never going to have as much time, or probably dedicate as much time to other areas as I do my career, because that's just how we've been conditioned. Maybe in the future. But if I've got an hour with my wife today, then what's the best use of our time? How am I going to make her feel loved, heard, and valued? If I've got 15 minutes for health today, what can I do? Like, that's what I then think about for the daily deposit, because I'm walking around going, I did something for this area, and this area. I'm proud of myself. I'm not neglecting those areas.
Yeah, I love that. And a topic that I love is building resilience. And I look back at the things that I've gone through, and there was a point in time where I wish it didn't happen. I wish I didn't have to go through it. I kind of resented those choices that I made that made my life harder at the time. I hurt a lot of people. I upset a lot of people. And there was a point where I was like, why did I do that to myself? Why did I do that to my friends and family? Why did I have to go through that? And it's only till, later in life where I've realized I'm actually glad that happened, because I wouldn't take it all back, because I love the person that I am today. I love my outlook on life. I love how grateful I am to be alive and to experience the little things in life where I get to wake up and walk my dog at the beach on a beautiful day, like go for a swim. Like, they're the things that I never take for granted anymore. And building that resilience, people will hear this story and they go, well, how do I build resilience? I don't want to go 58 marathons in 58 states, but I do want to build that resilience that you have.
To me, it's just doing the tough thing. It's like, where in your life can you make the hard thing default? So for you said even throughout winter, I do my sauna and my cold plunge. Like, I could think of nothing worse than getting in a cold plunge in winter, right? Like, instantly made things hard. But if I want to build resilience, well, what is resilience? It's just, to me, your ability not to quit when it gets tough. But if I'm training it through, the reason why cold plunges, for example, are great, because you get the same response in the body that you do when shit gets hard, where you want to run, you want to get out. Yeah. And it's like, how do I control my mind? How do I regulate my emotions through this to sit with it, to be with it? And that's all I did even on the marathons. Once again, I didn't start with 58 marathons. I'd been conditioning my mind and building my resilience from back in 2014 or even earlier, like footy and all of those things, all of those setbacks, but I just never quit. And so every time you get that experience where you're like, do I quit or do I not? One foot in front of the other. And you may not reach your goal today. But if you don't quit, if it's important to you and you don't quit, you're going to only continue to build your threshold.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of people sort of lose sight and they go, I want to be resilient. I want it now. I want to be at the finish line now. But they don't realize it starts with small steps every single day over a course of years. Yeah.
I would even say, though, if people are saying, I need to be more resilient, like, what do you specifically mean? Because if you don't know what you specifically mean, like, resilience and emotions in general are fleeting, right? We could get a phone call right now and it could put us in any emotional state. Like, you just won the lottery. You'd be fucking chuffed.
Yeah, see you later.
Podcast done. But equally such, you could get a sad call and it's going to control your emotion, right? So we need to find out how we make them tangible. So when people are saying, like, I just want to be more resilient, like, can you give me an example of a time in your life where you weren't resilient that you're referring to? Like, what do you mean? Because then you can start going, oh, well, I wish I was more resilient in the gym. Okay, well, that's easy.
Well, I get that a lot. I'll get people that talk about being resilient in terms of committing to things that they know they need to commit to. So whether it's like, all right, I'm going to do gym 3 times a week. I want to, if things get hard in a relationship, I want to talk about it. I don't want to just quit.
Yep.
If there's a problem at work with my boss or something like that, I want to confront it and talk about it rather than just sweep it under the carpet and then internalize it at work and then always stress about it. I think it's more so, this is just the conversations I have with friends and family, is that there's small things in their life that they want to confront, but they're not doing it. Or there's like promises they've kept to themselves, whether it's going to the gym or keeping small habits, and then they're not doing it. And by not doing it, they don't feel resilient.
So the best time to practice this or develop the skills of being resilient is when times are good. So use your examples there. We'll use the one, I want to have the tough conversation in my relationship. Something I avoided ages ago. A number of years ago, but I can't remember who shared it with me or if I heard it in a book, but they were just like, hey, a great way to start developing great communication, and almost to the point where you'll eventually start over communicating. When you get in bed, no phones, 5 minutes of chat.
Yeah.
The first 3 months was just like, how's your day? Yeah, good. Yeah. And then over time, you get sick of asking the same question. So the questions start getting different. They start getting more
deeper.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden your communication's good. And then you realize you can start over communicating. So it doesn't appear hard to have to confront your partner because you've already been developing this skill. Just like with your workplace, like if you can develop a good relationship and a good connection with your employees or your colleagues, it's a lot easier to do that. But you also just know that you need to be honest. Like part of your communication strategy is being open. It's like, this is frustrating me at the moment. I don't want you to take it personally. I just want us to have an open conversation.
So those small things gradually over time become those big changes in your life.
And it's hard to do that. Like,
it's daunting.
If you know that there's a tough convo that has to go down with your partner, and you're lying in bed and just, hey, can we just have a chat tonight? Instantly, like for me, I'll be like, do they think that something's coming up?
Have I done something wrong? Like, what have I done wrong?
Rather than just saying, hey. When times are good, it's not going to default to a bad conversation.
Yeah, I love that.
Nobody wants to talk.
Do you ever think about the person or the father you want to be?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time,
bro. Since 2014, like I've
really.
So the reason why I've built my business the way it is because going back to dad. Like dad's incredible, but I want to be there for those moments. Like I never want to sacrifice that. I think that's to me the most important thing. So every decision that I make, it's like, will it impact my health in the future? Will it impact my connection with friends and family? Will it impact my freedom? Will it impact my adventure? And will it impact family?
Yeah, right.
And so if it's like, for me, it's the reason why I don't have a bricks and mortar business because my wife travels a lot and we travel a lot. So therefore I couldn't commit to that without it, putting a lot of stress on our life.
Those 5 pillars.
Yeah. And so going back to the kid thing, what was missing in mine and my dad's relationship that I can build upon? I want to be emotionally on. Like another example, our videographer on the trip is like, can you just snap already? Or like something happen? I'm like,
what, to catch something?
For film. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not really angry. Like I'm frustrated, but 10 years ago, I would have done that stuff, but right now that's not who I am. And I don't want to show up like that just for TV or anything like that. For me, it's like I'm going through all the shit in my head. Don't you worry, but this is me because I never want to scare my children. I never want to make Amy feel unsafe. I don't want people to think I'm that, that's not who I am. So I've worked at all of this shit, and it's the reason why I still see a psychologist. It's the reason why I still invest in myself. The reason why I still put my hand up for help. Because I just want to be a great role model. And to me, part of that is going, hey, life is good today, but winter's coming. What does that look like? How could that show up? I don't know, but I just want to know that I've got the right people. I'm comfortable to go, hey, hands up, because my kids are going to be watching.
Yeah, exactly. You're prepared for it. Like, know, you may not know what's coming, but at least you've equipped yourself with the tools and ways that when winter comes, you can handle it. And I love that because they're the things that, we want to model to our kids. And I remember a good friend of mine telling me, like, kids don't listen to what you say. They watch how you live. So live accordingly. If you want your child to have a healthy lifestyle or a certain lifestyle, act a certain way, talk a certain way, or whatever it may be, you've got to model that to them because, if you tell them one thing and then you act a different way, kids are going to be sponges. They'll see the lies.
100%. And that's why I do believe anyone can have anything they want. Like I genuinely believe that. I don't care how ridiculous it sounds. The only limitations are going to be the ones that you put on yourself from the fact it's like, I've been in this career, I don't know anything different. It's like, what would it look like to explore something different? I can't do that because I've got children. Okay, well, what would it look like to include the children? I can't do that because financially I don't have the extra resources. Okay, well, what are some ways we can solve that first problem? Like, just start solving the problems because we're fucking not here for a long time, man.
That's it. And it seems like all trivial excuses, isn't it? Like, what's your best excuse?
And it's not easy.
No, fuck no.
No. Get after it.
But why should something that's not easy stop you from doing it? Because I was always in that mindset, like, man, why can't it be easy? And then I thought, well, why does it have to be easy for me to go after things? Where's the beauty in it being difficult? Is it more rewarding? Is it more rewarding that it's hard, that it's almost unattainable? So when you do achieve it, you're like, oh yes, like I did it. I did something that I never thought that I was capable of doing.
people are going to look at you in a couple of years or in 18 months, right? And they're going to go, oh, I want to do what Elliot does.
Yeah.
And you know all the stuff that you've gone through, the sacrifices that you've made, the traffic that you have to drive back
Yeah.
to create this. And this is your version of you building the life that you love. And that's an important thing for people to consider is you and I both have different ideas of what a great life is. And that's completely okay. That's what's makes us unique.
Beautiful about it, yeah.
But you're going after it in your way, which I think is fantastic, and I'm going after it in my way, which I also think is fantastic.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong. As long as you're smiling and enjoying the process, then that's all we can do.
Yeah, and it's beautiful because I had the same conversation with Jordan. It's like, far out, like the things that you're sort of sacrificing and the money and time and all that sort of stuff. And I thought, but I wouldn't have it any other way though. Like it doesn't seem... Although that it is, and there's times where I'm like, fuck, this is tough. Like there's some tough days here. I also don't see it as tough days either. You know, the late nights, whether it's driving back to Sunny Coast, or it's coming back down here, like all the traveling and then heading back out to work, and then trying to squeeze it all in, and then trying to balance family time. And Jordan's like, I'll come back from work, and Jordan's like, so how many days have I got you this week? And I'm like, maybe one. You know, and she's like, puts her head down and she's like, all good. Like, and they're the things that I feel really times where I feel guilty for, but at the same time, she knows, she loves that I'm on a mission and I'm heading towards something that I love doing, because she's like, I don't want you to go to a job that you hate every day. That I don't want you to go through that. If there's a period of time or 2 or 3 years where you're working towards something and then you get to live your life that you want to live, like that's beautiful. And she said something the other day. I can't remember what we were watching. It might have been a podcast or something, and it came up where I asked her, do you feel like I put you first? Because I didn't think I did. I always thought that I was putting other things first. And I asked her, I go, do you think I put you first? And she paused a little bit and she went, yeah, after yourself. And I was like, oh no, like how selfish am I? Like I'm putting myself first, like I'm trying to either build this thing or I'm trying to look after my own health or whatever it is, my own passions and stuff. I was like, oh shit, I feel terrible for not putting you first. And I didn't say that, but I think my facial expressions, she could see that. And she went, no, that's all right. Like I need you to put yourself first and then I'm second. It's all good. And I'm the same. She's like, I put myself first and you're straight after that.
You're like, what?
And I'm like, oh my, what's going on here? But like, it was such a beautiful thing because she's like, I feel you put me first after yourself.
That's amazing.
And I was like, oh, right. And she's like, it's okay. That's what needs to happen.
But do you know what's beautiful about that is you guys are a team. Like you're not, I feel people look at their relationship as like, we're opposition. Whereas you guys...
It's either me or that. You choose.
Yeah, where it's like, how can we do this together?
Yeah.
I think the fact that she can...
She's so hands-on with this as well.
Jordan can say, hey, if it's 2 to 3 years and you're in a better position, like that's so rare, but so beautiful. I'm in the same position usually. Like I've supported Amy, like I've moved overseas and she's never had so many failed things in my life, like business ideas and things. And she's always been like, oh, she's never been like, oh, another one. She's just been like, whatever, like go again. And like, even now it's like where I think in relationships you're in and especially if you're both, you know, growing together, there's seasons where I'm supporting Amy. I'm her biggest, supporter. And then there's times where I'm leading. And like I'm now in the season of leading and she's supporting me, but last year was different, right? So I think it's cool to be able to do that because in the beginning of mine and Amy's relationship, that was hard. Like I was like, I want to be the breadwinner. I want to be the big dog. Like
especially as a man, that ego side of it. Yeah, for 100%.
Sure. And all your mates are doing that. But then you sort of learn after time for me, the best relationships is one where you can dance between that. Yeah,
and build it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I've got some quick fire questions to finish. So you can answer these as quickly or as long as you want.
I'll be rapid.
You can be rapid. What has growth cost you during this journey, professionally and personally?
You didn't tell me they were going to be hard hitting. No. Growth has cost me birthday parties. It's cost me moments that I wish I didn't sacrifice, like birthday parties, family events, because I did have a personal development ego for a period where I thought I was better and I had to grow, and I still do, but I also am a lot better at going, oh, this is an important life event. Like, this is growth as well, because it's growing the relationship and the things come. I see growth in a different way. So yeah, it's cost me that.
And it's hard at the time to know and identify what I can sacrifice and what I need to be there for.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I agree.
Yeah. What are your 3 non-negotiables for living a healthy and full life?
Exercise every day. Have great conversations with my wife, and do something hard.
Every day?
Yep.
Something different?
Yep.
Love that. What scares you now?
I guess not being able to have a family scares me. Like, if that becomes our reality, then like that is scary.
Yeah. That IVF journey.
Yeah.
Not many people talk about too.
So that's
a challenge.
That's scary. And then also, like, I think just not. Actually, no, that's not even. That's probably the biggest thing.
Probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Has it been a long journey for you guys?
Yeah. So it's been 3 years.
Wow.
And it's like a big undertone to the doco because we're going through all of that. And I think as a man, or just even one part of the relationship, you carry a lot of guilt for, I guess even in work, it's like I missed the egg transfer because I was on my run, but Amy and I had only decided to do IVF, I think, in October. And we'd obviously already booked the run and everything like that. And I was stressing because I'm like, I want to be there. Not only just for support, but I want to be there. Like, I think it's an important moment. And she's like, Lockie, like, you're doing this for us. Like, the run for us was not just, there was so many reasons. Fundraising, challenging myself, seeing what I'm capable of, but also for career progression, because I knew that it would allow me to have more credibility to share the message that I've been sharing since 2017.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're doing this for our family anyway, so it's fine. Like, so to have her support in those moments was awesome, but there's still, like, you walk away and you're like, am I selfish? Am I going to regret this?
Was
like,
that worth it?
Yeah, was that worth it? Like, this, because nothing's guaranteed. So that scares me, because every time, like, Amy gets a negative test, it's like I watch her heartbreak. And she released a song the other day about it, and like the first time I heard it, it was like the first time I actually heard what she was experiencing, and it's heartbreaking. Like,
so emotional.
Yeah, like, she believes that's, the thing she's here to do, like, aside from music, and she can't do it. So she feels like a failure, and you're like looking at someone you love so much, who brings so much joy to your life, and they're beating themselves up over something that's out of their control. And you're just like,
how's this fair?
Yeah, how's this fair? So that scares me, man, because, and as well, like, since 2014, when I first started dating Amy, everything that's driven me has been like, I just want to be a good role model to my kids.
I want to be a father.
Yeah. And it's weird to say that, because at the time, I don't think I wanted to be a father, but I was like, I wanted to be a good role model if it comes. And now it feels like if it doesn't happen, I'm like, damn it. Like,
I want it even more now.
Yeah. You want what you can't have. And I feel like I could be an amazing role model.
You would be, absolutely.
Yeah. So that scares me.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I'll be
fingers
with you.
crossed.
Yeah. What are you still learning to let go of?
Being so freaking serious to be successful. I used to be like a larrikin and everything like that. But then when I committed to building a business, I just thought you had to be so, like, in order for me to be taken seriously, I thought I had to be serious. I stopped drinking. I stopped doing all the things that I did, and I almost conditioned myself out of it. So moving to Nashville was the best thing, because up until that point, even all my family, like, who I were over there with, they're like, it's so good to see you relaxing again, because I wouldn't go out for drinks. I was just like, I'm got a meeting the next morning. I'm
locked in.
Yeah, I'm locked in. Whereas now it's like being in Nashville and having the space to disconnect a bit and be like, okay, what else is important to me? I started realizing I could still grow a business and I could still achieve things that I wanted while still having great moments with family and friends and just chill out, man. Like, it doesn't need to be so serious. So I'm still learning that, because I'd love to be heaps better at it, but I got a long way to go.
At least you're aware of it. I love that. Who's your hero?
Probably my parents, because my dad gave me work ethic. Dad gave me sacrifice, and then mum also gave me sacrifice, work ethic, and like both. Yeah, just everything that they've given up for me, and the fact that like they've shown me that life can be great. It really can be.
I love that. And last one, if you could go back to that young 15-year-old Lockie, starting out this journey, going through all the stuff that he's gone through at that stage in his life, and have a chat to him and prepare him for the future, what would you say to him?
It's going to be cool to be you. Like just be who you want to be in this moment. I think if you could be be the role model to the 11-year-old version of yourself. Because now with social media, everyone can find their people.
Oh yeah.
Back when we were younger, we didn't have access to that. So if they weren't in our immediate, like in Toowoomba, like there weren't necessarily people doing what I wanted. So I didn't think it was possible. And then I meet the Iron Cowboy. His whole story is like redefine impossible. And so we get to do that. So I would just tell my younger self like exactly that. That you're fucking badass, man. Like
dream
good
big.
Things are coming.
Yeah, for sure. Lachlan, thank you so much for coming on today, man. It's been unreal. Love chatting to you. Love getting to know you on a more personal level. You're definitely squeezing the lemon dry and getting the most you can out of life. And I love your passion for life, man. Like I know a lot of listeners will feel that too. I love the work that you're doing, man. So I really appreciate it.
Elliot, thanks for having me on. And we need to find out if we played footy against
I think we did at some point.
Oh, it's gonna be
if
awesome.
I was a fullback, and what were you?
Centre.
Yeah, you would have bloody nailed me at one point, but
I reckon there's one of you palming me. But mate, thank you so much for having me on. Like world-class setup. I'm excited to see what you continue to achieve, because people don't see the sacrifice that goes into this. Like even as you mentioned, the time away from your partner, the investment in this, and you really make it such a comfortable space to have a good yarn.
Cool. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Mind Your Head. If you'd like to support the show, be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcasts. It really supports the show and helps others discover us. Don't forget to join us on Instagram and TikTok at mindyourhead.podcast.